Mind to switch today. Offer ends 10/13/24. Restrictions apply. New customers only with 150 megabit per second internet. Eco bill and auto pay required. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After 12 months, regular rates apply.
Have you considered surgery or even joint replacement? Hey, it's Dave Wyman, and before you make that decision, see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Why? Because he gives it to you straight. Dr. Wagner said my right knee needs replacement, and I appreciate his honesty and expertise. My left knee is fine right now, but the minute it isn't, I'm heading to Dr. Wagner for his expert opinion. I want to avoid another surgery, and I've heard so many patients rave about results from their 90-minute outpatient stem cell procedure with Dr. Wagner. He's a board-certified Seattle physician with over 30 years of experience and has performed more than 20,000 stem cell procedures using a person's own stem cells to regenerate cartilage in their own joints. People with severe osteoarthritis, even bone on bone, are back doing what they enjoy without pain and without surgery. Whether it's a shoulder, hip, elbow, ankle, wrist, or knee, before choosing surgery, see Dr. Mark Wagner first. Go to drmarkwagnermd.com.
Hey, Brock Ewart here with my buddy Dave Taylor from First Mark Insurance. You know, Dave, I love sport. You love sport. And I love sitting with coaches and hearing their game plan each and every week. What are the keys to a First Mark Insurance game plan?
It's a great question, Brock. I think there's really three keys to a great game plan with us. Number one is we want to make sure that our clients have the correct coverage for their unique specific needs. So that's number one. Do you have the right coverage? Number two, once we have the right coverage, are we getting that coverage at the most competitive price possible? And then last and not least would be, once we have the right coverage at the most competitive price, are we providing world-class service to those customers so that when they need it, they have someone there that's got their back?
Those are the three keys to a First Mark Challenge victory. And man, am I so glad Molly and I took the challenge. We are one of so many through a decade plus of being a First Mark Challenge victory. You can too. Just simply go to firstmarkinsurance.com, firstmarkinsurance.com.
Endless hours of research, seeking referrals, dozens of calls. Hiring the right attorney can be a challenging process during an already difficult time. J.P. Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains.
In Washington State, Tom, there are thousands of attorneys to choose from. Referrals and online research can be helpful, but discovering the right attorney requires a conversation. It can be hard to identify integrity and authenticity without that interaction.
So, what do you recommend?
We encourage anyone looking for personal injury representation to call for a free consultation with our team before making a decision simply based on referrals or online research. Accident victims need an attorney that listens, demonstrates honesty, and is genuinely understanding of their unique circumstances. The care, attention, and preparation that our firm provides throughout the case mirrors the effort involved when taking on the insurance companies.
Save time and avoid mistakes after an injury. Contact the caring and compassionate team at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
Let's go!
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Giants rookie wide receiver Malik Neighbors set an NFL record in New York's Thursday Night Football loss to the Giants, becoming the first player to record at least 25 receptions and 3 touchdowns in each of his first 4 games. In a scary moment, Neighbors was taken to the locker room when his helmet hit the turf after attempting to haul in yet another pass. He posted an encouraging message to Instagram that evening, though, writing, quote, "All good, thanks for the prayers."
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bump and Stacy
On Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. It's a Football Friday, powered by the Snoqualmie Casino Sportsbook. We have some Seahawks injury updates to get to at 10:45, and a very fascinating column talking about some strict coaching from Mike McDonald coming up at 10:30. Before we get to it, though, we got to talk Mariners. You are going to have a task if you're listening later in the show, and that will be to call in you're going to call in and answer the question that Bump and I are talking about right now. That's going to be
Why are
at
you
1
talking
p.m.
to him like that?
What do you mean?
You are going to call in.
I always
That's how I
wanted to be a
talk to my
teacher.
kids when they're
Yeah.
not paying attention. Listen.
I always wanted.
You're going to call in.
There's part of me that has always wanted to be just kind of like a 1, 2, 3 eyes on me. 1, 2, 3 eyes on me. You know, I can't help it.
I
It's just
feel the
it's
teacher in
deep
you.
within me. Yeah, I
Yeah.
used to. My younger sister, when her best friend Kyla would come over, they'd hang out at the house, and I'd be like, "Do you guys want to play school?" And they'd be like, "Okay." And then I'd be like, "Here's what we're doing: times tables." And I would make them sit down and do real math.
And you're the
before they
younger
could leave.
sister.
I'm the older. So
Oh, you're older. Oh.
I could not have gotten away
I was
with
gonna
this as
say,
the younger
dang, you were
sister.
controlling it like
no,
that?
No. I was just immediately like, so here's the deal. We're going to play school, and I'm the teacher, and you cannot leave until you're done doing this math assignment. So no wonder we really didn't get along when I was younger, because I made her and her friends sit and do math for
Makes
a really
too
long
much
time.
sense.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
But I'm trying to enrich young minds.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I'm trying to help these young girls just prosper and thrive. And that's why both of them are engineers.
Are they really?
No. No, no.
I was locked in for a second. Like,
No.
you really did that.
No, I didn't at all. No, but we are going to have you call in at 1 p.m. And Bump and I are going to answer that question right now. The question is super simple. What's one word to describe this Mariners season? You have so many choices. Please keep it radio friendly.
Yeah.
Bump, one word
This is
to
gonna-
describe this season.
You're not ready for this one.
I'm probably not.
Madonna.
Stop.
Stop. Because when I think about the end of this year,
Barrier breaker.
I think of her song "Take a Bow." Take a bow, the night is over. That's what I think about. Madonna, it's over. Take a bow. During the song, I was reading up the lyrics. In that song, she's talking about how like you put on a show. Like it wasn't really. You're not really who you were. You put on a show, and I feel like that's what the Mariners did this year. It's like you're up 10 games. We're believing in you. Everyone's buying in. You're putting on the show, but then eventually, like the real you gets exposed. And even though you tried at the trade deadline to reinvent yourself and bring some guys in, and it worked for the most part, you just didn't do enough. So I think of that song by Madonna, Take a Bow, man. It's over. And we all knew this was going to happen. We felt like it was going to happen, but we held on to hope because that's what you're supposed to do. And you see some things that bring you back in. You got Julio playing well, Robles doing his thing, the rotation doing what they've done all year. And you hold on, but when it's all said and done, the show's over. And now you have to regroup and try to figure some things out.
I'm not mad at that. I'm really not mad at that. One word to describe the Mariners 2024 season. Again, if you don't text in, we're going to open up phone lines at 1 p.m. So you can also call in if you want to save it, if you want. I bounce back and forth between a couple. My word is not like that unique. It's probably going to be one that most people have. It's failure. And in a colossal failure in so many ways. You had been waiting for a down year for your division, and you got that. The Rangers will not be in the playoffs. Houston will, and they obviously clinched the AL West, but they are not having the season that they have had when they're at their peak. Now, because they have been such a brilliantly constructed ball club, them in a down year is still a pretty great offense. That didn't work out the way that we were hoping. But you got a down year for your division. You got a down year for the American League and for all of baseball, with no team getting 100 wins and few teams. I don't know if anyone's going to get, over 95. You had maybe the best collection of pitching talent, because you can say
Maybe.
Oh, well, no,
They
yes,
definitely did.
But what I'm going to say is, none of these guys are going anywhere. But are you guaranteed they're going to stay healthy? Are you guaranteed they're going to stay great? Are you guaranteed you're going to get a repeat performance? No, you're not. So whenever anyone was like, oh, well, wait and see how your prospects go and whatever, you're not guaranteed you're going to have this season from these pitchers again. And you had it. So you failed to take advantage of all of that. You also entered the season, as you should have, and as you will next year, with playoff expectations. That was also different. So congrats on a winning season, I guess. It's not good enough.
I'm not expecting anything. I'm not going into next season, as we stand right now, expecting playoffs.
Why not?
Why should you expect the playoffs when You didn't get it done this year. Like, you got to show me something
Why would you
before
not?
I change my
Why would you not?
expectation. Because I haven't done enough. What have you done to change, right?
But this isn't a team.
Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
So you have the same roster. The roster that you have today,
Yeah.
okay, wasn't enough
Yeah.
to get into the playoffs
Yes.
this year. The Astros had a down year. All right, they still got into the playoffs. You had a down year in the American League. I'm not going to sit here and expect, okay, you roll out the same team, which they're probably not going to do.
No.
They're going to make changes, right? But as of right now, the team that I'm looking at, the situation I'm looking at with everyone else in the American League, no, I wouldn't expect playoffs. You haven't done it in 2 years. Now you make some moves, you holler at me in March or something. It's too soon for me to sit back and say, yeah, we're going to get them next year. No, you got to give me something to believe in. And right now, you haven't given me anything yet, and you can't because of where we are in the season. So right now, no. Talk to me when spring training starts and they've made some moves.
Completely fair. Based on history and analysis, you are absolutely correct. I'm thinking of it in terms of what expectations mean and do. So the point of an expectation, right? I think that Mariners fans should expect playoffs because that's what they deserve. I think that this front office should expect playoffs because that's what the goal should be. And I think that when the baseline is playoffs, you get really successful organizations that don't settle for anything less. And guess what? You're not going to make the playoffs every year. That's just how baseball works. Like, you're going to have down seasons. You're going to have frustrating years. Do you know how often Yankees fans call for Aaron Boone to be fired? All the time. But the expectations for Yankees fans every single year, for Dodgers fans, every single year is playoffs. How are you getting to the playoffs?
That's fair.
That should be the case for the Mariners.
You're not
the
there
expectation,
yet, though.
exactly. Your club did not prove that it was good enough to do that. The expectation should be that. If your expectation is, let's just, our goal is to make a club that can just kind of compete and, with good luck, hope and a prayer get to the playoffs, that's not good enough. I don't think so. I actually think the front office does look at this as, let's construct a playoff team. How do we do it? And I think that they very sincerely felt that they had done that heading into the season, which is why I hope that there's a lot of self-reflection as to, like, if we truly believed, like, with every ounce of our being, that we constructed a playoff team, why aren't we there? You can't just blame service. You can't just blame players.
How many teams don't expect the playoffs? There's only several teams every year that literally sit back and say, all right, we're trying to figure some things out. Like the White Sox next year, they're not expecting the playoffs, right? Angels, they're not expecting the playoffs. The A's, they're not expecting the playoffs. The Mariners are just in this weird place to where it's fair to expect playoffs, but going off of recent history and how moves are made, is it really fair to expect the playoffs? I mean, that's your goal. Expectations and goals are different, right? I think the goal for the Mariners should be to make the playoffs every year, but the expectations are just different because you don't have the roster that a lot of these teams have. And not even rosters that are just made up of superstars, just cohesive rosters that are put together and are performing at a high level. We've yet to see that in a couple of years. So, the goal should be to make the playoffs every single year. There are only a few teams who don't really have that goal because of their roster and the rebuild or whatnot. It's just frustrating for me, man. And and thankfully, and I'm sorry, I got the Dodgers to lean on. Thank goodness I'm from LA and I support the Dodgers as well because I'd be even more frustrated. But look, there were some good things that happened this year, and that's the thing too. That's hard for M's fans, especially when you've been with this team for decades. For me, I'm about 2 decades in almost, so I can see it a bit differently. And I'm like, well, there were some good things that happened this year. And me being an athlete or former athlete, that's the way I look at things. And as the coach, I'm like, okay, but what are the positives? Like, what can you build off of? You took the rotation and some of the performances, but these guys need some help, man. And how do you apply pressure to ownership? Right? Do they even feel pressure from the outside? Are they so just in their own bubble that they don't hear the noise or feel the noise that analysts and hosts like us make, or the fans are chanting like, give us more, we want more? Do they even feel it? That's the disconnect that I feel. And I'm not sure if they do or not, because to them, their silver lining is probably we were profitable this year. Man, fireworks tonight was dope. The bobbleheads, and you've mentioned it too, man. The PR team, whoever they are, they do a great job selling the Mariners.
Oh, like
man.
marketing and
marketing,
events.
Yeah. It is a fun environment. It's family friendly. It's great, but that's not enough. And how does ownership feel pressure? Is Dan going to be able to apply it? Who knows? But right now, I'm just a bitter Mariners fan because once again, we feel let down.
Yeah, and people should. And also part of this, It's interesting having this conversation while watching what's happening with the A's, because a bigger conversation about what's happening with the A's is what an owner owes fans. And it's easy to think of it as, well, you purchased a team and you can do whatever you want with that team. And that's probably a more accurate reflection of how sports work today.
Mm-hmm.
But inherent to sports is the concept of community and is a lot of passion. And so I don't think it's unfair to say that the burden of owning a team is that you owe fans something, is that you owe them memories, is that you owe them an effort. And I think if John Stanton was sitting here right now, I think if Jerry Dipoto was sitting here right now, they'd be like, that's what we're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think they'd be wrong, but the problem is, okay, but if year after year you don't do it, then what's happening? Like at a certain point, you got to take a step back and go, okay,
All right, well, let me ask
what
you
am I
this.
doing wrong?
Does making the playoffs a couple years ago allow them to reset and say, all right, well, we did it a couple years ago. Give us a bit more time to do it again.
Okay, this is my horrible, horrible, horrible loser mentality thought that I will fully admit that. I almost wish they didn't. I almost wish they didn't, because it would that pressure would be building even more with like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Inching towards 24, 25 years of not making the playoffs. However, on the flip side, I would never trade those playoff memories. That wild card series was the best ever. That was the first time as a teenager or adult experiencing playoff baseball. So I really, really enjoyed it. I'm not giving that up at all. And I also think that getting to the playoffs, it shouldn't matter if you're like the number one seed or whatever. It should be just try to get into the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
That should be good enough. So I am grateful for it. I hope then that instead of taking pressure off, what it does is make this team realize how close they can be. Like, you are not a team with nothing to offer. You are not a team with nothing to build on. You've got Cal, you've got Julio, you've got the best pitching staff in baseball. You're not hopeless. You should, in fact, feel like with a couple tweaks and a step forward and maybe some investment, what you have should make risk-taking easier, because you know how close you can be.
It should.
It should.
But will it?
I don't know.
We haven't seen that.
I also haven't seen this public pressure before.
We've seen little spurts, right? Little sparks of it. An acquisition here. You're aggressive for a couple years or an off season, and then you kind of sit back and hope that you can find something in aging players. You're going off of, and here's the thing too, is it's the evaluation of the player. Like, if I'm looking at the Mariners right now, the way they evaluate players, at least like the role players, they're looking for guys who are good people, which is great. You need that camaraderie in the clubhouse and all that stuff. Good people, and it's like they're trying to reinvent somebody, or they're trying to pull something out of them that hasn't been there in a couple years and saying, I still believe in you. You still got it. And it might work sometimes, but over the past couple seasons, what we've seen, it just hasn't worked. Mm-hmm. So if they go in this offseason and have the same approach, right, there's no way I can sit there and say, I expect them to make the playoffs. If they're doing the same things, why would I expect a different result? So I hope they feel some pressure, and I hope they see that there are some good bones on this team right now. There are some good pieces that you can build off of, especially when you look at that rotation and some of the best that you have in the lineup. So, yeah, take this opportunity and go get it, man, because like I said yesterday, I don't think they're too far off. I don't think they're too far off to being legit playoff contenders every single year, but they got to show us that they're committed to do it.
Well, and I would love to hear, I hope there's a postseason press conference. I hope that there is, a Jerry Dipoto interview. I would love to hear from Jerry, like, hey, this, he's not going to be completely transparent, but like, what feels different for you about your approach to this offseason?
Yeah.
Because again, it's this delicate balancing act as a Mariners fan, where you don't want to go, completely doomer with it and just be like, because you love baseball. You love sports. You love watching. You want to get to a World Series. You want to see this team get to the playoffs. So you're trying desperately to find optimism and find hope and find something to be excited about. And there are pieces here to feel that way. And then the other side is the frustration of like, but what's wrong? What are you doing? Personally, I think that they, could maybe reevaluate their own evaluation process. I do not know enough about it. I have it's all I can see is that it hasn't worked. That several free agent cycles haven't worked. I am not nearly smart enough to figure out how to fix it. But maybe Jerry and Justin are, and they can when they take a look at it. I also think that you could add to your payroll a bit. We've seen studies that show that increasing payroll more often than not does lead to more, postseason visits and postseason success. Not all the time, but that there is a very positive correlation between those two things.
Yep.
That's what I think could
Switch
be
it
one
up,
solution.
Buttercup.
Yeah, but we'll see what happens. We're going to open up phone lines at 1 p.m. One word to describe the 2024 season, and it's just going to kind of be a nice therapeutic session here about the Mariners. Let's get to headline rewrites.
Extra, extra, read all about it.
Headline rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bubba and Stacy.
Headline number 1, undefeated Washington State has their biggest road test so far against number 25 Boise State on Saturday from the blue turf. What's the real headline?
Excited to watch the next chapter in this storied Pac-12 rivalry.
Hey, this
Classic.
should be a trophy game in like 5
Decades.
years. Like it really should.
might.
When you look at Washington State and Boise State, there's so many similarities, right? Smaller schools, people imagine them being in the middle of nowhere. Wazoo is. Boise State is a bit more vibrant than Pullman for sure. This should be a trophy game in the next 5 to 10 years. I feel like if the band can stay together, but it's gonna be tough, man. Boise State, man, 7th when it comes to points per game. They have a heck of a run game. We all know about their running back. The Cougars are 0 in their last 5 when it comes to road games, dating back to Colorado, I think, or something like that. It's going to be tough, man. But if they can get this done, they should be ranked. If Boise State gets it done, they'll keep moving up when it comes to the rankings. This should be a good game. It's going to be a physical game. Wazoo has to get physical with this one.
So, okay, that you kind of answered my question, but to dig a little deeper, you said, look, if it's going to get done, how does it get done? How do the Cougs win this one? Like, what do they do?
You know who you got to stop?
Yeah,
that young man
Ashton.
Ashton. That young man, you got to stop him. If you can, look, stopping him, he's averaging 135 yards per game.
Yeah.
If you can hold him to like 100, then you should be in the mix. But it's going to be a tough one either way you slice it.
It's just absolutely unreal.
I heard somebody call this Washington State-Boise State game the Snake River rivalry. I think it's pretty good.
that.
That's a pretty good
I like
one.
that.
All I know is Ashton Jaunty is absolutely unreal. Not since Russell Wilson's early career have I talked about an Ashton this much.
Next.
Headline
His
rewrites.
ex-wife's name is Ashton.
Oh,
So I
okay,
remember when he first
okay.
got here, there was like that viral picture.
I was wondering.
Of him and his
I'm like,
wife.
Oh,
Yeah.
God. I saw somebody, I think it was like the College World Series or something. A player's name was Ashton Wilson. And I was like, hey now. I remember that. Headline number 2, someone had to win between the Cowboys and Giants last night, and it was Dallas winning 20-15. What's the real headline?
Yeah, I kind of wish I could just get my Thursday night back. I would like it back, please.
I watched most of the game on and off, obviously because we're doing Hawks Live, so I can't just focus on the game. When I look at the numbers, I guess Dak played okay. 81% completion rate, no interceptions, two touchdowns. They were horrible on third downs. I think they were 3 for 10, I think. Only 2 double-digit drives. I don't know, man. It seemed like with the roster that Dallas has, that they should just dominate the New York Football Giants, and they did not do that. Dallas is in a weird place. And then Michael Parsons got carted off with a shoe off or something. We'll see what happens there. You can't afford those injuries, especially when your defense isn't playing that well in general. Not the greatest Thursday night games, but how many times do we get a great Thursday night game? Only like the first one of the week or of the year.
It was so good.
Yeah.
It was so good. And
Seahawks Cowboys
I had
last
everyone
year
blown
was a great Thursday night game.
That was a great Thursday night
Not
game.
a great result, but a great game.
I mean, that one was some crazy numbers being put up in that one. A few crazy plays. That was a great game. I really wish the Seahawks would have won that one. That was so frustrating. It's interesting. Josh, we had Steven Ruiz on yesterday, and we were like, hey, tell us about your quarterback rankings and what's going on. And he said, well, the gap between Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen is really closed. And I don't think that when you're looking around the league talking about struggling quarterback play, you can say that about Geno and you can't say it about Josh Allen. Those two are really, really outperforming expectations. You can say it about Dak, though.
Yeah.
Even though he won, even though his Dallas Cowboys won, it's so weird, Bump, to see so much of the same group come back that were dynamic, explosive last year, and just look stifled.
You can't just run it back. I mean, you got to add, subtract, and they do, right? You go deeper into the roster. The Cowboys have done that. But, they got to get more explosive on offense. You got to get better on defense. And did I hear you say Josh Allen is outperforming expectations? Why? Because he's holding on to the football, not turning it over?
I guess what I should say is that that yes, because he's not turning it over, but also that he is far and away the best quarterback in football through 4 weeks. So the idea is always, and this is what Steven was saying, the idea is always, Patrick Mahomes, his own tier, huge gap, everyone else. And he was like, honestly, Josh Allen's kind of outperforming Mahomes. And Mahomes is still the quarterback that is kind of put on this pedestal, but that Josh Allen, there's no longer that sizable gap between like, and then Josh Allen, because, he can run the ball too. It's like, he's been amazing.
Yeah, Mahomes' resume looks better, but I'm with you 100%. Josh Allen having a heck of a year.
Headline rewrites.
Headline number 3, the Huskies travel to New Jersey tonight to face Rutgers in their first ever Big Ten road game. What's the real headline?
I'm still running that short side option here. Honestly, go for it again, Coach. Hey!
I'm running a short side option here.
What's wrong?
It's like The Sopranos.
Yeah, I'm walking here, but I'm speed option route here.
UW going to the East Coast. That's going to be a long flight.
I don't know if we made the joke.
Yeah, I get you. I get you guys. I leave that for y'all. The New York, I can't pull that off the way you guys do. UW going to the East Coast, and it should be a tough one, man. I mean, Rutgers is a good ball club. They have a running back in Kyle Monaghay, 6th in the country when it comes to rushing yards, 457, 5 touchdowns, 6.3 per clip. Also, Will Rogers is playing some good football too, man, completing 71% of his passes, 7 touchdowns, no interceptions. This is like the real welcoming to the Big Ten, I feel like. Making that long flight.
Not easy.
Logistics are going to be a bit different. It's going to be interesting, man. I'm going to watch this one for sure.
You're listening to Bump and Stacy on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app. All right, we're going back-to-back Seahawks before we bring on Adam Jude to talk about the Mariners. First, ESPN's Brady Henderson unearthed a few stories about Mike McDonald's strict coaching style, and we hadn't heard them yet. That's next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
Call it now, Dave. Got to make the call right now. This 3-0 start with the Seahawks. Are they the real deal?
Weekdays 2 to 7.
I'm going to say that me saying they're the real deal, but that's not that they're going to go 17-0. I think they're going to be. I think they're going to be what I thought they would be going into the season. I think we had the same prediction. Mine was 10-7, and they don't win the division, but they make the playoffs.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect that water is the reason parts of your concrete have gotten so uneven. Walkway tripping hazards, sinking pool deck, cracked driveways are dangerous threats to everyone's safety. But there's one way to learn how your concrete can be lifted. A free home inspection from Madvey Foundation Repair. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at gomadvey.com. Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
How would you like to have a brand new roof in time for winter? And even better, how about an honest local contractor known for their quality work? If you use Asset Roofing, you will have both. I can personally recommend Asset Roofing. Now through winter, if you need your roof replaced, make sure you get a bid from Asset Roofing. Get a free estimate now at AssetRoofingCo.com.
Certified work that's never in doubt. Asset Roofing, excellence is on the house.
You know, someone asked me the other day, do you know how many devices the average home has connected to their Wi-Fi network? It's way more than I thought. So I actually went home and counted how many connected devices in my home. It is more than a dozen, all to keep us connected to the good stuff, our streaming, gaming, all the interneting, you name it. Well, Xfinity knows that the number of devices we have connected to our internet is growing by the year. And that's why they engineered their gateways to handle hundreds of connected devices, hundreds for real. And now through October 10th, get 150 megabit Xfinity internet for just $19.99 a month for 12 months with a 1-year contract, and ask how to get an eligible free 5G phone with Xfinity Mobile. Make sure your home Wi-Fi can handle everything you throw at it and then some. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store to switch today. Xfinity, bring on the good stuff. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with store bank account. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra after promo. Regular rates apply. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity Internet. Actual speeds vary. 1-800-XFINITY.
The multi-dealer Evergreen Fall RV Show this weekend, Monroe Fairgrounds.
Lower prices are finally here.
8 dealers in one location.
Speedway RV Center.
Ryan's RV Town.
RV Country.
Colesville RV.
Open Road RV Center.
Fife RV Center.
Clearview RV.
And Bickford Trailers. The Evergreen Fall RV Show Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Evergreen State Fairgrounds. Sponsored by BECU. First 3,000.
Download $4 off admission coupon
at evergreenfallrvshow.com.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Are you curious about who offers the best deals on top-rated Samsung, LG, and Sony TVs? The answer is surprising. It's not online, and it's not the warehouse clubs. The best deals on top-rated TVs are at Video Only. Don't believe it? Then check out the trade-in deals at Video Only. How about $500 for your old TV? Try doing that online. Before you buy that new TV, drop into Video Only. If you don't, you'll be sorry.
We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
Watch your favorite show live at seattlesports.com.
Seahawks Insider, brought to you by Pacific Lamp and Supply. Now here's Maura Dooley.
Right guard Anthony Bradford has struggled with penalties to start this season. He's currently tied for second most in the NFL with 6. With Mike McDonald saying that this year's third-round draft pick Christian Haynes probably deserves some more playing time at guard, many have wondered why we haven't seen him splitting time with Bradford more. Offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb explained that yesterday.
Just technique and power. I mean, I think that just raw power at the guard position in the NFL is so critical, and that's why obviously, Anthony can withstand a lot in there. Just his sheer size and just what he can take on the inside. So I think for Christian is not getting overpowered and overwhelmed.
The Seahawks Insider is brought to you by Pacific Lamp and Supply. For the latest on the Seahawks anytime, go to seattlesports.com.
Hey, college students, want to save more on groceries? Every dollar counts, so my friends at Safeway are helping by giving all university, community, and technical college students an extra 5% savings every day. It's called Safeway for You. Sign up is free and easy. Safeway for You members get extra savings with perks, points, and free products. For all the details and terms, visit Safeway.com/FOR and the letter U. That's Safeway.com/for-you.
Mariners 2025 season ticket memberships are on sale now, and there are 2 great options to choose from. With a flex plan, you can select your games as you go and switch up your seating location throughout the season. And with a reserved plan, well, you can lock in your games and seats from the moment you come on board. Either way, enjoy access to exclusive pre-sales, no ticket fees, year-round discounts, including at the team store and Hatback Bar and Grill, and so much more. Go to mariners.com/25 today to learn more all about the benefits of becoming a member.
Hey, Brock Ewart here with Shannon O'Kelly, President and CEO of IRG Physical and Hand Therapy. And Shannon, we're not just rehabbing injuries anymore. Now we're in the business of speed and performance. Talk to me.
Yeah, Brock, we're really excited. We just opened up our IRG Physical Therapy and Sports Institute in Fremont. It's 5,000 square feet of AstroTurf rubberized flooring. We're not only going to treat your physical therapy conditions, but we're also going to help you as a patient athlete, a recreational athlete, work on strength, speed, explosion, vertical explosion, horizontal explosion. I mean, we're going to create an athlete out of you and get you back to activity at your best.
What was the genesis of this?
Oh, there's a huge need out there. I mean, you talk to people and you start looking at patients that are going through rehab. Rehab is just part of the process, getting people to a point, but then the next point is really doing the strength and function explosion and the athletic training skills that everybody wants and needs.
Schedule online right now at irgpt.com, irgpt.com.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2
on Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Really interesting feature on ESPN about how Mike McDonald is guiding the Seahawks post-Pete Carroll, posted by ESPN's Brady Henderson. A couple stories in this one that are very insightful. Bump, I don't think that you would be surprised because you know Mike McDonald by now. If I said Mike McDonald can be kind of a strict coach, old school coach, that seems to be kind of the impression that he leaves.
Yep.
Some of these stories, though, like I'm not even mad at them. it was just more of like a, he what? Like that was my reaction. So here are the two that stand out most to me. One is one that we had already heard about, Mike Macdonald yelling at, I believe, an undrafted rookie free agent when he was like, hey, you guys go sign autographs after training camp. One player, an undrafted rookie, did not and started walking to the locker room, and Mike Macdonald came over, like totally, called him out and dug into him a bit. But this was another one. There is a test that every player must pass at the start of training camp in order to practice. Varies by team, obviously, but it was 6 150-yard shuttles with a time limit on each leg, depending on the position groups. So Brady wrote, it might have been predictable that a few young players would fail this test. It's very difficult, which would require them to start camp on the non-football injury list until they could pass. But for the new Seahawks head coach, it was not acceptable. Macdonald was pissed, a source close to a player said. He chewed out the players individually, according to a team source, and then brought up the issue in front of the rest of the team in order to drive the point home. You owe it to everyone else to show up in shape. This is the part where I was like, oh my God. He told at least one of the players that he'd have been cut on the spot if not for the guaranteed money in his contract.
That's real.
That's real.
Because guaranteed money on contracts determine a lot. And it's and some coaches kind of tiptoe around it, or they just ignore it, I knew when guys got hurt, I was going to have an opportunity to play. I knew as soon as they got healthy, my butt was going to be back on the practice squad because you're paying this man to do a job. That's I like the realness in that. And come on, son. You showing up to an NFL training camp out of shape. You cannot complete a conditioning test. That is your job. You should be embarrassed. And I'm glad that he called him out, man. And that's like, that is setting the tone right there. A 37-year-old, first-time head coach, ain't afraid to call people out in front of their teammates, hold them accountable. That's awesome, man. So now what guys are doing is they're perked up a little bit. They know that, hey, Coach Mike, he don't play. So, yeah, I like that.
The other one was from Brady. McDonald's fine system, more strictly enforced than Carroll's, includes a $500 penalty for showing up even 1 minute late to a meeting. Being overweight and missing physical therapy sessions are other finable offenses. I'm very much here for it. Apparently, Mike Macdonald's motto, one of them, is to make it right. So that if you mess up, hey, make it right.
Yep.
If you're late, here's your fine, make it right. And I love that idea of self-correction constantly.
My high school coach, Coach Tom Salter, Culver City High School, told me, if you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. If you're late, you're fired. I live by that. Like, if I think I'm going to be a minute or two past the time I told you I was going to be there, I will send you a text. I will communicate like, look, man, I apologize. But you're building structure. When you have to control or influence 53 to 60 men, grown men, you have to have structure, and you have to stay true to that as well. Like, you can't waver. You can't bend. If this is the rule, this is the rule. I don't care if you're Geno Smith or if you are Drake Thomas. From top all the way down to the bottom, these are the rules, and I'm going to hold you accountable, and I'm going to do it in a way to where your peers see it. So now a good football team starts policing themselves. So now when it's getting close to meeting time, instead of messing around in the locker room, guys are tapping each other like, hey, let's go. Meeting in 10 minutes, man. Let's get there early. So I love that Coach McDonald is doing that, because the best teams operate like that. You have to have structure.
When it comes to the comparison between Mike Macdonald and Pete Carroll, Mike Macdonald obviously far more strict. Brady made it clear within this. Even his fine system is more strictly enforced. However, I do want to point out, Pete Carroll, early in his tenure, was pretty cutthroat. One of the conversations people were having is, wow, this guy's not afraid to cut veterans. This guy's not afraid to cut guys that other players really love. Then something changed, and I'm not entirely sure what it is. And it's not that Pete Carroll's approach was bad. Again, he led this team to its only Super Bowl title and helped produce one of the best modern defenses the NFL has ever seen. That was in part because of his culture and because of his coaching style. But something happened along the way. And, Bump, I don't know what it is, but I think that people started to take advantage of Pete Carroll's, not quirks, or softness, but of his approach.
Yeah, because Pete Carroll brought like the college players coach vibe to the NFL. Let's not get it twisted. I'm sure his first few years in the league, he was probably a bit more strict. It's like, I got 4 kids, a 14, 12, and 10. My 14-year-old is so on point. I mean, he is on point. He wakes up. He's early. He works hard. He does all this stuff. He was my first go. So we're making sure this young man is going to be tight. And then we loosen up. Each kid, my 10-year-old is a bit more loose. And then my daughter runs the house. You know, it's just over time, you start to kind of lose sight of some things. Now, I'm not saying that Pete Carroll lost sight of a team and wasn't able to be competitive because every single year he was. But some things that he did probably in year 1, 2, or 3, he definitely wasn't doing in year 12, 13, 14. No. That's just human nature. And it's so hard to do. That's why when you see guys like Bill Belichick last for so long and Mike Tomlin last for so long and have this accountability, it is so hard to do because you set a standard and having to lean on that and be true to that every single day is a challenge, man. Yep. So Mike McDonald, and he has the energy. When I had my first kid, I was 24 years old. I had energy for days. I'm on you know what about everything. At 38, man, I'm like, man, go ahead. You good, man. You good. Clean your room later. Don't worry about it. You know, it just age does that to you.
Jen comes in. I said, clean your room now.
Yeah, exactly. And he's 37, so he's got that fire in him. And I think this is exactly what this team needed.
This is the tough balancing act, though. Because what I would naturally be thinking is, why wouldn't you always very, very strictly and with almost a cutthroat approach enforce the idea of accountability?
Right.
Because it doesn't always work in the NFL. Matt Patricia with Detroit, I always think of as a prime example. This is someone who very routinely enforced a strict culture, but he didn't have the wins to back it up. And all he had on his resume was, well, I was with a dynasty. Okay, but you're not Bill.
Yeah.
So the balancing act for Mike McDonald to me, Bump, is also going to be, you can have this approach. It works best when you win. And also, if you're going to have that approach, you need to have it for yourself. Mike McDonald strikes me as someone who is incredibly, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like who's living up to the bar. But that's why some coaches have that not work out, most especially Bill Belichick's disciples.
And you got to do it in a way to where you still show respect for the players. Like you can't just be super strict, no respect, no relationship. You still got to develop and build relationships with people. Once you do that, you can be as strict as you want to be. They know what to expect and they know where it's coming from. With Patricia, man, I don't think he invested in his players, didn't get to know them. Mike McDonald is clearly doing that. Now the next step is, as the years go by, he's got to get his coaches to kind of fill in those gaps because he's going to have so many other things to worry about. Now the coaches are kind of the officers, and he's the general or lieutenant, whatever you want to call it.
I would imagine it's a little bit like parenting. I'm glad you made that analogy earlier, but it's probably this balance of like, I need to be strict but not personal. And if I'm going to say, you need to be in shape or you're fine for this, make it right, I need to also make it clear that I believe in them.
Yeah.
Right?
You find them, and then you pull them to the side, be like, man, come on, dog.
Yeah.
You know, dang well you're supposed to be in shape. Like, we need you. There's a way you got to finesse it and keep it genuine, and I think he's doing that.
You're listening to Bump and Stacy on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app. We've got some injury updates ahead of Monday Night Football. One piece of great news and one concerning update coming your way next.
Seattle Sports has your chance to win 4 tickets to watch the Seahawks host the New York Giants October 6th.
Throw deep, got DK open, touchdown, Seahawks!
Head to the Seattle Sports app, click the Win tab in the bottom of the right corner, and enter for your chance to win.
A 71-yarder to DK!
You can enter once per day, so the more times you enter the Seattle Sports app, the better your odds will be. Do it every day, September 25th through September 30th. Details and rules at seattlesports.com/win.
West Coast Men's Health has helped thousands of men overcome erectile dysfunction and Peyronie's disease using acoustic wave therapy. No pills and no shots. But it's not our success stories that separate us from the other clinics. It's how we interact with our patients. From your first call, our medical staff will take the time to answer your questions, whether it's about your ED, how our treatment works, or even about the cost. Our goal is to inform and educate you so you're comfortable when you come in for your first visit. So if you're tired of frustrating nights, you're ready to get off Viagra and put an end to your ED or Peyronie's disease, stop living with this problem and do something about it. Give West Coast Men's Health a call today. It's not just about better health, it's about a better life.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
With Floor Coverings International, the mobile flooring showroom comes to you. Book an appointment, pick out the flooring you like, and they'll order and install it for you. It's that easy. Visit FCIFloors.com to book an appointment. Floor Coverings International, the stars of flooring.
911, what is your emergency?
There's a fire in my building. Please send help right away.
What is the address of the fire?
My address. Hold on. Oh, wait. The fire sprinkler just went off, and it's putting out the fire.
Good to hear. The fire department will still be dispatched as a precaution.
Fires are fast, but fire sprinklers are faster. Fire sprinklers get water on a fire immediately to protect you and your property. Install fire sprinklers in your home or business today. Brought to you by Puget Sound Area Fire Protection Contractors.
John here with Happy Hauler. Furniture and household items you plan to throw away? We work with organizations all over Western Washington to donate used items. Happy Hauler is Seattle's eco-friendly junk removal. HappyHauler.com, hauling with a heart.
This might be the most surprising statistic I've shared in decades of doing local news. More than 75% of commuters will be involved in a car accident at some point. JP Pendergast of Pendergast Law with more.
What makes it more surprising? The average person will be involved in 3 to 4 collisions in their lifetime.
With accidents unbelievably prevalent, what are some safety tips if it happens to you?
Safety first. Secondary collisions are not uncommon while awaiting help. Turn on those hazards and remain in a safe place. If a bystander witnessed the accident, capture their information and encourage them to remain at the scene. Seek medical attention immediately if needed, as delaying can be a costly mistake. Lastly, remember that statements made to police and insurance adjusters can affect your case.
Collisions are more common than we'd like to think. If you find yourself in one, follow these helpful tips and then call my friends at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one's injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
PendergastLaw.com.
Did you know that most people wait 6 or 7 years before they buy a new TV? That's a lot of time in front of one TV. So why not get one of the best sets for the next 7 years, like one of the top-rated Samsung, LG, or Sony models? Too expensive? What if you could get up to $1,000 trade-in for your old set? Who would do a stupid deal like this? Right now, at Video Only, you can get big bucks for your old set as a trade-in and a hot price on the new models. Don't be sorry. Check out Video Only.
Subscribe to the Seattle Sports YouTube page to find new and exclusive content from your favorite shows and personalities daily. Just head to YouTube, search Seattle Sports, and click subscribe.
Looking for fine jewelry this fall? Good news! Seattle's favorite jeweler for more than 40 years now has 2 locations in the area. Come visit us in our beautiful new store with the biggest selection at South Center Square in Tukwila. Create your own engagement ring with the widest range of diamonds and gemstones and discover unique, fine jewelry designed by our in-house team. No matter your budget, our friendly team is here to help guide you in finding that perfect piece that speaks to you. Visit ShaneCo.com to find your closest store and hours. We can't wait to see you. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
September is Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. Prostate cancer is the second most common cancer in males. When detected early, it can be curable. Swedish CyberKnife offers a non-invasive and highly precise treatment for prostate cancer, typically requiring only 5 treatments. CyberKnife patients experience minimal side effects and can continue normal activities during treatment. Go to swedish.org/cyberknifeprostate. Treat prostate cancer with Swedish CyberKnife.
This is the day of the big sale at your gift shop.
Welcome in.
So this isn't just a big day for your business. It's a big day for the network keeping it all connected. That is, if it can handle the pressure.
Next in line, please.
So is it possible to get business internet you can really count on? It is. With 99.9% network reliability from Comcast Business. It's like this neat little bow.
Do you like that gift wrap?
Really ties it all together. Reliable internet for your business. It's not just possible. It's happening. Comcast Business. Powering possibilities.
Switch to Comcast Business and get started with reliable internet and advanced security for $49.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Plus, ask how to get up to a $500 prepaid card with a qualifying internet package. Don't wait. Call or go online to switch today. Offer ends 10/13/24. Restrictions apply. New customers only with 150 megabit per second internet. Eco bill and auto pay required. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After 12 months, regular rates apply.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
All right, I got good news, I got bad news when it comes to the Seattle Seahawks. None of this is final, though, because yesterday was their first injury report. We got a Monday night game here. I'll start with the good news. Ken Walker practiced. But before I ask you about what that could mean for the offense, Ryan Grubb talked about what the offense looks like with Walker in it.
Pretty explosive. I think him and Zach are both crazy talented backs, so I think we're really blessed to have both those guys. They're just different. I think, in the open space, obviously that's where Ken is really, really dangerous. He's extremely difficult to get a hand on, and, Andy's strong. So I think sometimes there's guys that are scat backs, so to speak, that get out in open space, but you put a hand on them and they might go down pretty quickly. But Ken, I think, is very unique that he can create and generate that space. And then when he gets into that space, he's very difficult to bring down. He's strong.
Bump, if Walker can play on Monday night, kind of a two-part question here. What does it mean to get him back? What does that mean for the offense? Are there things they can suddenly do now that they couldn't? And also, what does it mean against the Lions in particular?
Walker makes bad things good. Walker will have a defensive end in the backfield with a hand on him, and he'll somehow shake loose and break a big run. He breaks tackles. He's shifty. He's everything you want in a running back. So sometimes as an offensive coordinator, you might call a play, and the defense has the perfect call for it, and your players just make you right. Yeah. Ken Walker is a player that does that. Now, what does it mean against, say, the Detroit Lions? The Detroit Lions will control the clock. They are, I think, top 10 in the league when it comes to time of possession. They will control the rock. How? They will run the football, dink and dunk, then take a shot. Mm-hmm. With Ken Walker, you can do the same thing. Zach Charbonnet did a great job last week, 91 yards, 2 touchdowns. Didn't really get the bulk of his yards until the second to last possession when they go 11 plays, 98 yards. He doesn't pose the same threat as Ken Walker. He's a good downhill runner, but Walker just has that special something in him where no play is ever dead. When you look at Charbonnet and Kenny McIntosh, a little that we saw them, it feels like, okay, well, once you have him wrapped up or once you have him bottled up, the play is probably over. Ken Walker is just special. Now what it does is I'm going to talk about how to neutralize Aiden Hutchinson in 4-down territory, and Ken Walker is going to be a big part of that. You keep Aiden a bit more honest with his pursuit down the line of scrimmage or whatnot. And now the play action has more effect because the linebackers are biting up a bit more because they respect Ken Walker a bit. So it opens up your playbook. It makes you right. And he finds yards that aren't there. And when I say that, it means like, all right, it's zone left. He looks for the cutback. Nothing's there. He bounces it way outside, gets back to the middle. Yeah. He's just a ball carrier, man, and he's real special.
Yeah, I love the idea of next man up. It exudes a kind of toughness that we all appreciate about football. However, Zach Charbonnet is a different running back. I mean, I also just fundamentally think this because I've heard you talk about the two of them so many times that while I'm encouraged by Zach Charbonnet getting 91 yards on the ground after the team as a whole got, 40 rushing yards against the Pats, I'm also not fully confident you can repeat that against the Detroit Lions, who were the number 2 defense against the run. And that's with me knowing, Zach Charbonnet is a second-round pick. You want to be able to do what you can, but I'd rather have both options. I'd rather have a little bit of a different attack and a counterattack to what I can do with the run.
Yeah, and honestly, man, the last 2 games have done great things for Zach Charbonnet, for his mental and just filling the game. He did have over 400 yards last year. It's not like he hasn't played football for this team, but when you get 18 to 20 carries a game, you feel the game differently, you see the game differently. So hopefully, once Ken Walker is back, sounds like it's going to be this week, when Zach does come in, it just feels different. He has more confidence. He knows that he can make these plays, and you have a legit 1-2 punch. You've had a 1-2 punch, but the second punch didn't pack a lot of power. Now there's some power there because you look on the other sideline, they got a legit 1-2 punch in Montgomery and Gibbs, so you got to be able to keep up with them.
575 on the Mac and Jacks text line. Can Ken Walker be compared to Marshawn Lynch in style?
Kind of. I think Ken Walker has more top-end speed than Marshawn Lynch. I think they both have that balance. And I think Ken Walker – now, Marshawn Lynch has one of the greatest jukes of all time against Baltimore when Ray Lewis, and I forgot who the other player was, has him, and he puts his foot in the ground and he moves him. Ken Walker's jukes are just different. I think Ken Walker is more balanced when it comes to power and shiftiness, where I feel like Marshawn's game was more power than shiftiness.
From the 509, last topic on running backs here, and then we'll move on to the bad injury update I had. Why is it whoever Seattle has at running back's always injured? Rawls, Procise, Penny. Now Walker seems to never be healthy. Is it something they're doing in practice or training?
Nah, that's just football.
Also,
that's
Walker,
ball.
Yeah. Rawls was healthy and then never got back into it, and I don't think it was injury related. Like, he did struggle with injuries, but there was some other. It just never clicked again. I don't know why it was. He was so talented, but it just didn't click. Procise couldn't stay healthy. Penny couldn't stay healthy, and that is unfortunate. But Walker isn't. I wouldn't say Walker's injury prone.
He missed 2 games last year. I think if you're a running back in this league, you're gonna miss 1 or 2 games a year. That's just how it goes. Like, look at the top, say 10 runners in this league right now. Saquon Barkley, he's missed a lot. According to yards, Jordan Mason hasn't played enough. J.K. Dobbins has missed. Alvin Kamara has missed. Derrick Henry's missed. Josh Jacobs, Jonathan Taylor. That's just the nature of the position.
Yeah. Okay, so the good news, Ken Walker practiced. The good news that Ken Walker could be returning, and that's hugely important against a Detroit Lions defense that was number 2 against the run. Here is the bad news. It's not final yet. Again, yesterday's was the first practice report of the week. Anthony Bradford was a non-participant, and Bump, I already know what some listeners are thinking, which is, cool, I haven't been happy with him. He's had 6 penalties through 3 games, and, I get the frustration. I understand that. But there's a reason that Anthony Bradford is your starter. Here's what Ryan Grubb had to say when asked, hey, where does Haynes need to improve?
Just technique and power. I mean, I think that just raw power at the guard position in the NFL is so critical, and that's why, obviously, Anthony can withstand a lot in there, just his sheer size and just what he can take on the inside. So I think for Christian is not getting overpowered and overwhelmed.
What's it mean if they don't have Bradford? And again, we're a few days away, so I don't want you to take this as me reporting that he's out. This is me reporting he didn't practice.
Some people are going to see that and be like, oh, let's give the young man a chance. Because you seen Bradford, you put the stat out, 6 penalties in the last 2 games or something like that?
Yeah, 6 through 3.
6 through 3, right? Obviously, he's battling some stuff, right? Some holding calls or whatnot. But when Bradford is on point, when his hands are in the right spot, when he's climbing up to the linebackers, and Big Ray points it out when I watch film with him, he can dominate a man. And when you're in the trenches, you look at the receiver spot, a receiver, you can be Devontae Smith. You can be Deshaun Jackson. You can be Tyler Lockett, smaller dudes. You don't have to be just physically imposing. When you are in the trenches and it's man on man, body on body, you have to have just some raw strength about you. So that's what it sounds like, is that Haynes still got that baby fat. He hasn't blossomed yet, but he's on his way. And once he does that, then he'll probably get more playing time. So in the meantime, you got to deal with some of the shortcomings of Anthony Bradford, because when he is on point, I'm telling you, he is moving grown men. But unfortunately, it's been overshadowed by some penalties.
Okay, so that's the latest on this injury report. We're obviously going to get more injury reports as we move on. I believe the last one's going to be Saturday, I think. And then inactives come out 90 minutes before game time. You're watching to see what's up with Ken Walker. You're watching to see whether or not Anthony Bradford's going to be out there. The Seattle Seahawks return home on October 6th, and we are excited to give away 4 tickets for your chance to see them take on the Giants at Lumen Field. All you need to do is open the Seattle Sports app and click the Win tab to find out how. If you don't already have the app, simply text the word app, APP, to 866-979-3776, and we'll send you a link to download. Enter daily to increase your chance to win. Contest runs through Monday, September 30th. The Mariners have been eliminated from playoff contention. You already knew that, though. What we don't know is everything that went wrong and how they can actually get back to the playoffs. So let's ask Adam Jude. He joins us next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk.
Hey, it's Brady Anderson. If the Seahawks win on Monday Night Football and beat a good Detroit team and start 4-0, are we starting to have real legitimate, is this a Super Bowl contender kind of conversation? I think we are,
maybe,
right?
Yeah, because then you just knocked off one of the other NFC teams that's considered to be a Super Bowl contender. Meanwhile, another NFC team that has been a Super Bowl contender for the last few years, the 49ers, they're dealing with their own injuries.
And they're going to be at best 2-2.
Right.
Streaming live on the Seattle Sports app.
By the time this radio ad ends, another vehicle will be stolen somewhere in the United States. Help keep your car safe with these simple and important tips. Don't leave your car running unattended. Park in well-lit areas. Lock up every time. Keep valuables out of sight. Use an anti-theft device like a steering wheel lock. Share this information with friends and family. Prevent the theft and keep yourself and your vehicle safe. These tips are brought to you by the Washington Auto Theft Prevention Authority.
Pros, now's your chance to save big during Pro Savings Days at Lowe's. Right now, save big on appliances like the GE Stainless Steel Kitchen Suite. Plus, save $40 on 5-gallon pails of Valspar Reserve, Valspar Defense, and Valspar Stain. Shop Pro Savings Days today for big savings on everything you need to get the job done right. Because Lowe's knows pros. Valid through 9/27 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-885-9700. 800-885-9700. 800-885-9700.
We just want to have enough money for retirement.
And travel to visit our grandchildren.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we start by getting to know each other, so I can learn about your family, lifestyle, goals and needs, allowing us to tailor your portfolio.
What about commission-based products?
We don't sell those. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in your best interest.
So how do your management fees work?
We have a simple management fee based on the value of your portfolio, so we do better when you do better.
We appreciate that kind of transparency.
We also check in with you regularly to keep you up to date on the markets and your portfolio.
Well, what other services do you offer?
As a client, you have access to resources on investing, financial planning, estate planning, Social Security, Medicare, and more.
Wow, sounds like Fisher Investments has everything we need.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
You know, someone asked me the other day, do you know how many devices the average home has connected to their Wi-Fi network? It's way more than I thought. So I actually went home and counted how many connected devices in my home. It is more than a dozen, all to keep us connected to the good stuff, our streaming, gaming, all the internet, and you name it. Well, Xfinity knows that the number of devices we have connected to our internet is growing by the year. And that's why they engineered their gateways to handle hundreds of connected devices, hundreds for real. And now through October 10th, get 150 megabit Xfinity internet for just $19.99 a month for 12 months with a 1-year contract, and ask how to get an eligible free 5G phone with Xfinity Mobile. Make sure your home Wi-Fi can handle everything you throw at it and then some. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store to switch today. Xfinity, bring on the good stuff. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with store bank account. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra after promo. Regular rates apply. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity Internet. Actual speeds vary. 1-800-XFINITY.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy 2. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
In business, service is everything. Cintas delivers what you need to better serve your customers. Whether it's freshly laundered work apparel for almost any job imaginable, tested and inspected fire protection systems, first aid and safety supplies, on-site AED training, or mops and restroom products stocked and ready when you need them. Better work days happen together. So visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Hey, college students, want to save more on groceries? Every dollar counts, so my friends at Safeway are helping by giving all university, community, and technical college students an extra 5% savings every day. It's called Safeway for You. Sign up is free and easy. Safeway for You members get extra savings with perks, points, and free products. For all the details and terms, visit Safeway.com/FOR and the letter U. That's Safeway.com/for-you.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Per Ian Rappaport, Cowboys All-Pro linebacker Micah Parsons suffered a high ankle sprain in last night's win over the Giants. That injury could keep him out anywhere from 1 to 4 weeks. Meanwhile, bad news continues to mount for Dallas. Tom Pelissero reporting DeMarcus Lawrence will miss multiple weeks because of a foot injury. The Cowboys have a long week here before taking on the Steelers, followed by a game against the Lions before bye week.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This hour is brought to you by Floor Coverings International.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. The Mariners have been eliminated from postseason contention, so let's figure out what went wrong and how they can right this ship with Seattle Times reporter Adam Jude. He joins us now on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Adam, how's it going?
Great, guys. I'm sure we can figure it all out here and answer all the Mariners' questions
exactly.
in the next 10 minutes.
Yep,
Let's
we're going to
it.
lay out the blueprint for a World Series team that they can build in a single offseason. Done. But I am going to start with some of what went wrong, which is fitting because your latest column on the 2024 season is Where Did It All Go Wrong for the Mariners? So where did it go wrong?
Yeah, I mean, we have to start with the strikeouts, right? Offensively, for the first 5 months of the season, they were on track to set the all-time strikeout record. And, their turnaround over the last, month here obviously is certainly notable, but is, too little, too late. They're not going to end up setting the all-time strikeout record. And look, if you want to take a sort of a brutal punch at it, I mean, that's maybe the best thing that they've done this year offensively. And that's just a fact. This is the best pitching rotation that the Mariners have ever had. It's one of the best in baseball over the last couple decades, you could say. We started to dig into some of that, just the historical perspective on how good this pitching has been, but that just tells you how bad the offense was for 5 months out of the season. And once they started to turn it around, again, it was just too late. So it goes back to the strikeout issues. It goes back to just their inability to do just the bare minimum, right? 3 or 4 runs a game, often on those nights was all they needed. And too many times they were stuck in that 1 to 2 run sort of window. And it felt like we were watching the same game play out time and time again in June and July and August. And obviously it was so frustrating for Mariners fans, but it had to be so frustrating too for that pitching staff. They put on a brave face and they continued to show up every night and do their job. But at the end of the day, no matter what they did, it didn't seem like it was good enough.
Hey, Adam, I know it's probably hard to see, but maybe you've heard a few things. What's been the Edgar Martinez effect when it comes to Julio? He has been playing good the last, month or so. OPS is up. He's hitting the ball hard, driving runs in. Have you heard anything? Have you seen anything?
Certainly. They've made a great connection. Obviously, they've known each other. They've been, I think, friendly, during Julio's tenure here. But with Edgar obviously stepping into the full-time interim role here over the past month, they've had a chance to connect and work together closely every day. And I think Julio's really appreciated that connection. And I think, the beauty about Edgar is just his calming presence, the way he talks to everybody, just the way he is, right? You think back to Edgar's career, every time he stepped in the box, I think part of what made him so great is he never felt panicked. He never felt overwhelmed. He always seemed just really not cocky, but just really confident. He knew that he had something on his pitcher, or he knew he was going to be able to battle, whether he had 2 strikes or whatever the situation was. He just always seemed in control and calm. And I think that's what he brought to this lineup here. He simplified some things, and to me, his greatest achievement was being able to connect with Julio, being able to tell Julio a few blunt things. And for Julio, I think he had to humble himself a little bit too and be open to some advice. He even told us that, he's glad he listened. And to me, that's a sign that, obviously he was a little stubborn in the past, and, he's got his inner circle, and he didn't always take to maybe some feedback or some criticism in the past. And that said, there aren't, hitting coaches just available, around every corner that have the Hall of Fame credentials that Edgar Martinez had, that can connect with every type of hitter too. So to me, that's the big question. What happens next with Edgar Martinez? I think he had initially only signed on to be the interim coach for the rest of this season. Obviously, the Mariners would love to have him back in whatever role he's open to for next year or beyond. But I think they've already begun the process. I know they've already begun the process of trying to find the next hitting coach and someone that maybe can connect with someone like Julio a little bit better and kind of help simplify things for these guys, because clearly Edgar has proven that approach works.
Adam, when it comes to talking about the front office as part of the overall kind of issue with this season, again, you could point your finger at absolutely everyone, including players. There's kind of this chicken or the egg conversation, right? Of, well, Jerry DiPoto and co. didn't make the best decisions, but how much money did they have to spend? And I will fully admit that they have one hand behind their back in terms of having a budget that is more limited than obviously the top spenders in baseball. They also did have money to spend, though. So my question for you is where you think that issue has gone wrong, because we've seen, Adam, now a couple free agent classes where you've just had players, no pun intended, striking out on some of these, additions. Is there an evaluation problem? Is there a talent execution problem? Is it a park problem? I mean, what's going on?
Yeah, great question. It's a great point. And really the only answer is it's all of it, right? And I think that process has already begun too for the Mariners. They need to kind of take a long, hard look in the mirror of where have we come up short in terms of their evaluation, in terms of their player acquisition, in terms of their, again, coaching, and maybe the largest thing of all is just in terms of their strategy. Again, this is a very analytic, data-driven front office, and that doesn't really make them different than most other major league franchises right now. Maybe the disconnect there is the application of that. How are they using that on a day-to-day basis? How are they using that to game plan? How are they using that to influence the hitters and their approach every single night when they step in the batter's box? And to me, that's one of the more fascinating storylines in this offseason as well. We know Dan Wilson is planning to come back as the full-time manager. By all accounts, players have enjoyed working with him. He's done a good job here in a limited window. But it's going to be really fascinating for me to see, now that he has an entire offseason to plan, they're going to have a new roster. He's going to have his fingerprints presumably all over it. How much of the analytics is he going to use? Is he going to allow? And are they going to be able to find that happy medium between, what the front office values and what Dan Wilson values? Because we have seen sort of a turn back from Dan Wilson to, some of the traditional methods, some sacrifice bunting, trying to just the method of putting the ball in play with 2 strikes, whereas analytics will tell you, you can live with some strikeouts if you have the slugging, if you have the home runs to go with it. Well, clearly Dan Wilson, doesn't necessarily agree with all of those methods. So it's really fascinating to me to see if they can come together and kind of find a happy medium and compromise. What values do they share? What values do they see a little bit differently? And then again, what does that mean in terms of the players you're going to bring in? Because they obviously need to upgrade throughout the lineup and they need to get better. And they also need to evaluate, to your point too, the ballpark. How big are the factors of playing at T-Mobile Park and in Seattle, especially early in the season? It's the coldest ballpark in Major League Baseball. You can talk about the marine layer. You can talk about the wind effects. How much does that play into it? It's probably minimal, but it does play into the psychology of the hitters, as we've seen over the last few years too. And so I think that has to play into their overall philosophies and thinking this offseason as well.
Hey, Adam, like you just said, I'm interested to see how much influence Dan Wilson has on just roster construction and philosophy and all that good stuff. But when you look at the guys who are here, the guys you expect to be back next year, how far off do you think the Mariners are? Because at times it looks like they're not too far off, and then there are other times where it looks like they are hundreds of miles away. What are your thoughts on the guys you expect to return?
Yeah, it depends, I guess, how much you buy into what they've done over the last 4 or 5 weeks with Dan Wilson and Edgar. Obviously, you have to really love what you start with Julio Rodriguez. You have to love what he's done, of course. And this is not the first time we've seen him take off in the second half, right? That's just kind of what he is at this stage in his career, 3 years in. He's a second half player. He's been terrific this month. AL Player of the Week last week. I think he had 4 homers in the 6-game road trip. Julio has to feel good about where he's at and be able to go into the offseason with some confidence and momentum. And then you look at the 2 guys on either side of him, Randy Arozarena and Victor Robles. That's your outfield. for the Mariners in 2025 as well. And so they do a lot of electric things. They create havoc on the base paths. We've seen the other side of that too when they go a little too wild and the consequences of that. But I think you start with those three and you feel like that's a pretty good foundation. And then you've got obviously Cal Raleigh in the middle of it all, sort of the backbone of this team in so many ways at catcher. J.P. Crawford has proven he is a reliable and talented veteran. I would expect him to be back at shortstop too. Is he going to be your leadoff hitter going into 2025? No, not at this point. But I think the Mariners are comfortable and confident in his defense and in his leadership. That right now he's penciled in as your shortstop. And then everything else I think is they've got to be wide open. They've got to be open to anything, frankly, when you look around the rest of the infield and you look at designated hitters. So it's going to be a fascinating offseason on so many levels. And certainly you're looking at the lineup and what they can do and what they maybe what the encouragement you have from this last month kind of makes you feel like they don't have to start over from scratch, right? They've got some foundational pieces that they can build around, and they can and should feel confident in that.
Well, and kind of continuing that forward, talking about building off of certain things, I was thinking as you were speaking, like, okay, what are the things that I liked from this season, or what are the things where they've kind of got a head start? And you're excited with them finding Victor Robles, obviously Julio finishing the season strong, and then, of course, Adam, I automatically went to the pitching staff. Do you think that they'll lean more towards continuing to build on that and make that the core of their identity, or is there a real danger in the need to tear part of that down in order to build up your offense?
Yeah, another great question, Stacey, and that's the big question kind of hanging over just what their plans are and what they're going to do and what they want to do and what they should do this offseason, right? Those are all different questions, and you're going to have different opinions, I think, just from people inside the organization as well. So, again, I get the sense that they're open to just about anything. Do they want to trade Bryce Miller and Brian Wu? No. They said that pretty emphatically last offseason as well, and they were able to keep both of those guys. Can they keep them again? Again, I don't think they want to trade them, but they have to be open to anything. If they're able to get a proven, cost-controlled, middle-of-the-lineup young slugger, I think they have to consider it. That said, they're gonna look at everything. Again, Luis Castillo's name has been thrown out already as the most likely to be traded of that group. I don't know if that's necessarily true, given his age, given his contract, and given his no trade clause. We've gotten the sense that Luis Castillo really likes it here. He likes pitching here. He's been traded a ton in his career. Would he really waive a no trade clause this offseason? I think is a big question as well. And so, again, you've got, the best 1 through 5 pitching rotation in baseball. You start with the fact that why would you want to break that up? This is who we are. This is our strength. This is what we've built to play in our home ballpark. They do have, Emerson Hancock, who looks like he will certainly be a serviceable major league pitcher. He's ready. He looks like he can take on 150 innings next year. What do you do with him? And they've got some guys knocking on the door, too, in Double-A who look like they're just about major league ready and very talented. Do you trade those guys, or do you trade somebody more established in your rotation right now and bring those guys up, next year? So they have options, I guess, is the good news for the Mariners, and everyone knows that just about everything they touch with pitching turns to gold. And so, of course, other teams are going to want to poach that and call them. And as they did last offseason, the Mariners got a ton of calls, I can tell you, about Brian Wu. And they're going to get more calls about Bryce and Brian again this offseason. And to me, their ability or whether they want to hang on to those guys, whether they're able to hang on to those guys, is another huge, fascinating subplot to this entire offseason.
And Adam will be covering that closely all offseason. His latest, Where Did It All Go Wrong for the Mariners in 2024, is up at seattletimes.com. Go check it out. Thanks so much, Adam.
Thanks, Adam.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
All right, quickly, the Seattle Seahawks return home on October 6th, and we're excited to give away 4 tickets for your chance to see them take on the Giants at Lumen Field. All you need to do is open the Seattle Sports app and click the Win tab to find out how. If you don't already have the app, shame on you. I want you to think about that. I'm very disappointed.
What are you doing?
But that's okay. It's also okay. You can just text the word app, APP. You can text it to 866-979-3776, and we'll send you a link to download. Enter daily to increase your chance to win. This contest runs through Monday, September 30th. Let's get to 4 Down Territory.
This is 4 down territory, going inside the game. What former Seahawks and Coug wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
First down, what teams have must-win games this weekend?
You must win this ball game or your season is over.
I can guess one.
Who?
Bengals.
The Bengals.
The Bengals.
The Bengals are going to Carolina and playing the Panthers. The Bengals are 0-3. Yet, Joe Burrow is having a decent season so far, completing 70% of his passes. He has not turned the ball over. He's top 10 in QBR and QBR rating. He has a 6 passing offense, a 26 running defense. I mean offense. This is weird territory for Joe Burrow. You cannot play the Carolina Panthers and have Andy Dalton and them beat you. If you go 0-4, this will be an embarrassment. People will start calling for your job. They will turn on you so quick, Joe. You know how these people do. You know how the fans do. You know how these analysts do. It will turn on you. And I'm one of those guys, Joe. I might turn on you. If you go 0-4 to the Panthers, it's going to be tough. The second one, the Jacksonville Jaguars. They are 0-3. Y'all have a couple quality losses, right? Lose to the Browns, Dolphins, and the Bills. All right, if they start 0-4, everyone's in question. Doug Peterson's in question. Trevor Lawrence is in question after the extension. Just got money. He's completing 54% of his passes, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Better quarterbacks this year than Trevor Lawrence. Daniel Jones has more yards, more touchdowns. Minshew, more yards. Bo Nix has a better completion percentage than Trevor Lawrence. Granted, he hasn't thrown any touchdowns yet, but I'm just saying, the Jacksonville Jaguars, you guys were in the playoffs a couple years ago. You paid Trevor Lawrence. He's playing just as good, if not worse than Daniel Jones. Those two teams, if they lose, there's going to be some movement going on.
I love as feedback, you're playing just as good, if not worse than Daniel Jones. Like, imagine someone telling you that as a quarterback and be like, dang, I don't know that you mean it as a compliment or an insult. I'm so confused.
I don't know what to think.
But it should be an insult.
And
you're right. That's also one of the things. I love 4 down territory. And that's another one of the things that I always think of is when you had a 4 down territory. This was like weeks ago. It was during the offseason when Lawrence got his contract and you were like, these numbers are Daniel Jones numbers.
Daniel Jones numbers. Daniel got
Doesn't
paid
have Daniel
too.
talent. More talent than Daniel Jones, but Daniel Jones numbers.
Does he?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you look at obviously.
I think he does, but he ain't performing like it.
That's it. Well, and honestly, like Trevor's still got to get to that capitalize on college football talent in the pros level. I think because he went to such a dysfunctional organization, was under one of the worst head coaches we've seen for a year there with Urban Meyer, you're like, well, how much of it is the pieces? Like, what would Trevor Lawrence look like in the 49ers if you plopped him in there last year?
That's unfair because most quarterbacks in the NFL will look decent in that offense with those weapons.
Exactly true. But it's
he's got weapons though. You got Gabe Davis, Christian Kirk, Brian Thomas you drafted, Travis Etienne. Ingram is injured at the tight end spot. We'll see what happens there. The reason why I question it is because it's not like he does not have talent around him. So Doug Peterson, fix it, man.
Did you see that viral graphic of, I'm pulling it up, I saw it from Jackson Bevins. Oh, it was a quote from Kevin O'Connell about quarterbacks. It was, quote, one sentence. I thought you would like this.
Okay.
Organizations fail young quarterbacks before young quarterbacks fail organization.
Bars.
Yo,
Kevin. And my bad, 425 corrected me. Burrow has turned it over. There was a fumble that was recovered for a touchdown. No interception.
Still a solid season. Your point, though, is that like you wouldn't look at his numbers and think this team is 0-3.
Facts.
Third down. Just kidding. Second down. I'm only on second down. I gotta get through this. What undefeated team may get a boost offensively on Sunday?
It's my darling team this year, the Minnesota Vikings.
Oh,
Addison is coming back, man, and the Vikings have been putting up points. 28 against the New York Football Giants, 23 against the Niners, 34 against Houston. They are the 3rd scoring offense in the NFL. They're going up against the Green Bay Packers. Their defense has been good this year, only allowing 19 points per game. Justin Jefferson has 273 yards and 3 touchdowns. He has 4 plays over 20 yards, including that 98-yard touchdown that he had. You get Addison back into this mix. You got a nice 1-2 combo. More weapons for my dude, Samuel Darnold, to get it done. This is going to be a good one in Green Bay, man. And biggest Malik Willis for kind of resurrecting his career or getting it going at least. But no, the rich get richer. Addison is back. Jefferson is there. Vikings looking good. Let's see if Sam Darnold can keep things rolling.
I love how much you've rooted for Sam Darnold since before the season started, and I love that you're being rewarded with an undefeated season
Feels so
far.
good.
It's such a beautiful bromance that's like kind of one-sided, but I really love it.
It's definitely one-sided.
It's definitely one-sided. Third down. What can the Seahawks do to neutralize Hutchinson?
That's what you got to do. You got to make Geno a fake runner, right? You got to leave Hutchinson unblocked when you run your zone and have Geno fake the pull, even pull it one time to have him second guessing himself, make him a fake runner. And you got to run at him, all right? You got to hold him on the backside with Geno, run at him with your tight ends, get a fullback in there, chip him. You got to make it a physical game for this dude. Run your split zone now. So you run your split zone with your tight end. You run the ball to the left. You leave him unblocked this time. Then all of a sudden, boom, a tight end lights him up. You got to keep this dude guessing, because if he could just line up and say, I'm going one-on-one with this tackle, it's going to be an extremely long day. Keep this man guessing. Fake runs with Geno. Actually pull it one time, Geno, so he has to respect it. Split zones with that tight end. Knock him up. And then you have to run at this dude. Be physical. Do not be afraid of him. If you are afraid, he smells fear. He's like dogs. I got chased by a dog one time in Mississippi. It was a little dog.
What happened?
And he smelled my fear. And I looked him in the eyes, and I turned and I ran. And that's when I knew my cousins were faster than me. No, I didn't catch him, but they were like 3 steps ahead of me.
You had that 4.3 speed.
And they had 4.3. I had 4.5 speed.
Okay.
They were gone. But, yeah, he smells fear. Don't be afraid of him. Run at him.
I love the idea of all of you running from this dog, and in that moment, you look at your cousins and go, dang, how fast are they?
Man, they
Like, no
fast.
longer are you thinking about the dogs. You're like, whoa, they got burners.
And we get to the house, as the first thing they said, we faster than you. I'm like, all right, man, it's
Dang
all
it.
good. I made it to the league, though.
I did get bit by a little dog.
Did you?
I was not fast. My 40 time is probably starts with a 5. 4th down. Who could have an opportunity to win a starting job by the end of the week for the Seahawks?
Just talked about it, Christian Haynes. This is his opportunity right here. If Anthony Bradford is not able to go, Christian Haynes can have himself a good game and win a starting job. This is why they drafted him. They didn't draft him to be a backup his whole career. Obviously, he's still young in his career, 4 games in. But if he can go out there and play good against this Lions defense, who you mentioned is top in the league when it comes to stopping the run. If they can do that, he can create gaps and holes and allow Ken Walker to do his thing and look like physically he can handle it, he might win a job. This is the opportunity he's been waiting for. So I wish nothing but health and success for Anthony Bradford, but if he is not able to go, Christian Haynes, this is your opportunity, because there have been some ups and downs, smiles and frowns with Anthony Bradford. So go ahead and get your job, son.
It's a Football Friday powered by the Snoqualmie Casino Sportsbook, but we're not talking about football. Instead, next, we're talking about the most infuriating story in baseball today.
Seattle Sports has your chance to win 4 tickets to watch the Seahawks host the New York Giants October 6th.
Throw deep, got DK open, touchdown, Seahawks!
Head to the Seattle Sports app, click the Win tab in the bottom of the right corner, and enter for your chance to win.
A 71-yarder to DK!
You can enter once per day, so the more times you enter the Seattle Sports app, the better your odds will be. Do it every day, September 25th through September 30th. Details and rules at seattlesports.com/win.
You know, someone asked me the other day, do you know how many devices the average home has connected to their Wi-Fi network? It's way more than I thought. So I actually went home and counted how many connected devices in my home. It is more than a dozen, all to keep us connected to the good stuff, our streaming, gaming, all the internet, and you name it. Well, Xfinity knows that the number of devices we have connected to our internet is growing by the year. And that's why they engineered their gateways to handle hundreds of connected devices, hundreds for real. And now through October 10th, get 150 megabit Xfinity internet for just $19.99 a month for 12 months with a 1-year contract, and ask how to get an eligible free 5G phone with Xfinity Mobile. Make sure your home Wi-Fi can handle everything you throw at it and then some. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store to switch today. Xfinity, bring on the good stuff. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with store bank account. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra after promo. Regular rates apply. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity Internet. Actual speeds vary. 1-800-XFINITY.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Choose the right flooring for your home, right in your home, with Floor Coverings International. They bring the mobile showroom to you, loaded with samples of carpet, LVP, hardwood, laminate, tile, and more. So you can see the flooring in your light, not just in a store or on a screen. They handle every aspect of installation, ensuring your complete satisfaction. Visit FCIFloors.com and book a free in-home consultation. Floor Coverings International, the stars of flooring.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let the tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, the #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks that the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, they'll fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Are you curious about who offers the best deals on top-rated Samsung, LG, and Sony TVs? The answer is surprising. It's not online, and it's not the warehouse clubs. The best deals on top-rated TVs are at Video Only. Don't believe it? Then check out the trade-in deals at Video Only. How about $500 for your old TV? Try doing that online. Before you buy that new TV, drop into Video Only. If you don't, you'll be sorry.
The Mike McDonald Show. The first word from the head coach after every Seahawks game.
We want to play a certain way, and you're just going to chisel away at it every day.
Presented by Emerald Queen Casino.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code MOVE to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code MOVE for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code MOVE for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Okay, everyone, what did you think of the chocolate bar?
It's too chewy.
Feels kind of chalky.
Too much nougat.
I need to go brush my teeth.
Business is booming for Steph's small marketing research firm.
After all these focus groups, there's only one conclusion. I need more researchers.
And she's way too busy researching
Does this have peanuts?
to waste time researching resumes.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Mom, meet Sarah.
From first-time Nana moments.
And welcome to Flight 101.
To annual girls trip moments. Your can't-miss moments are worth protecting against RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes, you're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV. And there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com.
So where should we go next?
Sponsored by Pfizer.
This hour is brought to you by Floor Coverings International.
This is The Timeline.
With Bump and Stacy.
Brought to you by 1-800-DUI-AWAY.
My feelings are hurt.
Why?
I don't
What
want to.
happened?
No, I don't want to deal with this segment.
Come on, let's.
No, I don't
We're
want
all
to.
friends here.
No, I don't want to do radio anymore.
We're all friends here. What happened?
In the last segment, you were talking about running away from a dog when you were little and how your cousins were faster. And I said, oh, you had that 4.3, and you said I had that 4.5. They were like 4.3, really fast. And I said my Ford time probably starts with a 5. And then we hit break. I thought everything was fine. We hit break. I thought we were on to the next story, and I thought we'd be talking about the Oakland A's. And then someone texted him. And they said, ain't no way Stacy's 40 time is under 6. And I said, no, listen. And I said, wow, listen to this. 253 says, this is during the break. 253 says, ain't no way Stacy's 40 times under 6. And I look at Bump. Bump says nothing. He's silent. And I can tell in that moment.
I'm calculating.
That Bump is agreeing. And there was no like, man, wow, that person's crazy. That Bump agreed immediately.
I didn't agree.
Yes, you did.
I just didn't disagree.
And I said, you know what? Before he even spoke, I said, you know what? You don't need to say anything. You've spoken.
Listen, if I could watch you run 10 yards, full speed, I can tell you if you're under 6 or not.
You know,
if we can get you running in a straight line, Stacy, I think we can get you under 6.
Well, now you're asking for a lot.
Yeah. You kind of serpentine.
This is what it is. Is I just need blind support is what I need. You know what I mean? Like support based not on any kind of truth is what I need.
That's what you need.
I need like that person's insane. What are they talking about?
253 is crazy.
Exactly.
Stacy, you can do it.
I bet you're a 4.5.
See, now we're getting crazy.
Okay. Look, I'm from a school where we focus on academic prowess.
Okay,
not athletic
prowess.
Oh yeah, I was like Tai.
That's what I'm saying. You know, I was researching schools for my son, and Tai was not on that list.
Go Totems. I don't think we're the Totems anymore, actually.
You can't be nothing these days.
Yeah, we're not the Totems, but someone said if you're measuring Stacy's 40 times, start with a sundial.
Oh,
dang.
No.
Person.
No, see, y'all are misunderstanding. I'm not a land athlete. I've said this multiple times. I am a water athlete. Have you ever seen an otter run?
No.
Yeah, exactly. Have you seen them swim? They're superstars. That's me.
So if you're comparing yourself to an otter, you definitely ain't touching 5 something in a 40.
Well, yeah, but you know, I excel in other areas.
Yeah.
Swimming, penmanship, hosting.
Yeah.
Let's get to this dumb story. The Oakland A's played their final game at the Oakland Coliseum on Thursday, and no one wants to see them leave. The final out of that game sounded like this.
Now the 1-2 pitch. Here it is by Mason. He turns, he's ready, he throws in, it's swung on and hit to third. He was left up with it. Schumann, he turns, he throws, and the A's have won it. Mason Miller slams the door on the Rangers as the curtain comes down on 57 incredible years of A's baseball at the Coliseum. It's over. It is over after 57 years of thrills, of heartbreak, but always a sense of community, of fans belonging to something bigger, something special. It was baseball. It was Oakland A's baseball that brought so many people together.
Just feels like such a blatantly wrong thing, a blatantly greedy thing that's happening in baseball right now. And the rest of baseball, that is Rob Manfred and owners, are just kind of letting it happen.
Yeah, they are. It's unfortunate, man. I travel a lot to the Bay during football season, and a couple times I've been seated next to an A's fan. And no joke, 2 for 2. I bring up the A's, and their eyes start getting watery. And they talk about, and I just let them talk. It's almost like I'm in a therapy session. I'm just listening. I give you the floor. You go ahead and you do your thing. And they just start going through all these memories. I'm born and raised in the Bay. They start talking about A's history I know nothing about. I'm just learning from them. And there's a real connection, man. And I drive through the Bay Area, Oakland specifically, and I see where the Warriors used to be. It's all gone now, where the A's were. And it's just, there's like a depressing feeling when you drive through Oakland knowing that these teams are gone, because not only did the team have a connection to the city, like it provided jobs for guys and girls too. So it's a sad deal, man. And you're right. Everyone's just watching it, or the powers that be are just watching it and letting it go down. And it's so unfair to the people that have supported that team for, 60 years?
Well, and what's such a bummer is that the story is so easily misrepresented and is being misrepresented by John Fisher. That being that, look, we tried, this is John Fisher and A's ownership, look, we tried multiple times to get these stadiums going, and we offered to fund the majority of it, and the city could just never give us anything. Well, wait a minute. Part of being a sports owner is giving people something to love and taking care of this thing that you assume ownership of, right? It's a living, breathing, real thing when you take on a sports team. You slashed payroll. You cut players that became too expensive or traded them off to other teams. You became a farm system. You upped ticket prices. You upped concessions. You made no changes and improvements, no improvements whatsoever to the Coliseum. And then you turned to fans and said, why don't you care? Give them something to care about. What do you mean, why don't you care? Because you're actively working to break and ruin and tear down this thing that they love. And then you're telling them, why don't you show up? So to misrepresent it as trying to build these stadiums and not actively admit that you never wanted to fix things, that you were always going to be so incredibly cheap, and then you saw a money-making opportunity heading over to Vegas and stole a team. What a horrific thing for other MLB owners to let happen.
Yeah, and what's also messed up about this situation is that they're going to move the team to Vegas. Mm-hmm. And in 4 or 5 years, we won't be talking about this no more. And there are people who grew up watching this team. And the A's were good, man. It's not like the way they're going out is so unfortunate, man. Like, just with all the shortcomings that you just described, it's a farm league. The ballpark is in shambles. It's unfortunate, man. And there should be some shame on all these owners for allowing this to go down. I understand that it's business. And there's probably a lot more to gain by moving to Las Vegas. But in today's world, man, just loyalty and tradition is like out the window at this point because of the dollars that are being thrown around.
Yep. The two most interesting things from this to me, sad things from this to me, are the bigger picture things. One is the owners and Rob Manfred allowing it to happen because it speaks to how power works and how greed works. And if anyone's like, well, why would they allow the A's to play in a minor league ballpark? Like, that looks bad for the rest of the league. Because they're not worried about fans. They're not necessarily even worried about image for the rest of the league so long as they're making money and so long as they're protecting each other. That's how power works.
Yep.
The second thing, and I'm going to throw this back your way just to speak on what you think about it, because we're having a version of this conversation with the Mariners, who I don't want to hear anyone say, well, are the Mariners in a worse situation? No.
No, heck no.
But we're having a version of this conversation with the Mariners in terms of what ownership of what a front office owes fans. Is there something owed to fans when you're the owner of a team?
Heck yeah. A great experience, effort into building a team, a competitive team, not just doing bare minimum. I mean, these fans support you. They support the team. These fans grow up and look forward to matinee games and baseball tonight. I mean, it's not about you. Like, yes, you own the team. You are responsible for constructing the team, but the team belongs to the fans, really. The fans in the city. Because without the fans, without the city, there is no team. So it's selfish, and I'm sure on paper it makes complete sense to him and the league and the owners. But you're losing the human factor in this, and those are the people who show up. I cannot imagine a day, and I'm lucky. It's never going to happen. Like, the Dodgers ain't going nowhere. The Lakers ain't going nowhere. I cannot imagine having my team leave my city, a team that I named my son after Kobe. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't – it's deeper than what they can imagine because they're not the ones sitting there with all their emotions poured into this player. A lot of these people see it as businesses now, and it is a business. But if you look at a guy like an owner like Mark Cuban, you can tell he loves his team and his fans, and he's trying to do what's best for them. He's the type of owner that fans deserve, man. This one right here, garbage.
All right, next and last story here, a quick one. Nikola Jokic was already in mid-season form during the Nuggets media day on Thursday.
What do you remember about maybe your first or second media day coming around here? Just has anything changed at all?
No, every year is the same thing, and I don't know why we're doing it every year. Everything is the same, completely the same thing. So
this guy's got great energy. I don't know why Jokic doesn't just answer every question from reporters by saying, "I hate you." Just say what you mean.
My man clocks in and clocks out, doesn't make any friends at work.
My
goes
guy
home.
clocks out at 4:59 p.m. Let me tell you what.
It is the same. I've been to Pac-12 Media Days. It's the same.
Yeah.
It's the same.
Yeah.
Everything's the same.
The idea of he's not wrong, but
you got to do it.
hates. This guy hates being an NBA star.
He does.
Truly.
He'd rather be a role player.
Exactly. I just want to watch horses. All right. We are about an hour and a half away from opening up phone lines, getting back to that Mariners conversation. Going to stick with the Seahawks for a little bit next, though.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
John Morosi is here.
I think that in general, this is overall a quality baseball team that just underperformed. And I think that's why it feels so hollow right now, that they were capable of so much more. The way that Julio was ended his season has reminded you of that. And if you get that version of Julio all year long, again, very different conversation. This baseball season is a lesson in the way that the game can tease you and humble you.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Welcome to IRG Sports Injury Update. We're with Shannon O'Kelly, physical therapist and president of IRG Physical and Hand Therapy, and our guest, Dr. Jamie Antoine, orthopedic surgeon with Pro Ortho in Kirkland.
Dr. Antoine, how are you?
Doing well, Shannon. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. We're going to talk about this syndesmosis, high ankle sprain injury, kind of called a tightrope. Tell us about that injury.
So a high ankle sprain or a syndesmosis injury involves an injury to the ligaments above the level of the ankle joint that connect the two big bones of our leg, the tibia and the fibula together. Usually that injury is happening when the foot is getting rotated externally or away from the body relative to the leg. And in football players, this typically happens as the foot gets pinned by another player and the player goes down to the ground.
And how do you diagnose it and repair it?
So usually this is diagnosed on exam with pain above the level of the ankle joint and a lot of swelling and pain with weight bearing. So physical examination and then x-rays, including special x-rays, usually called a stress view, or an MRI can be helpful to diagnose it. If it's an unstable injury, that can require surgery to line the bones up as the bones have been disrupted or separated from one another. And so that's done surgically by lining things up under x-ray. And more recently, we'll tend to fix this with a special suture button and suture device, or a tightrope type of device that can hold the bones together.
Return to play.
So return to play with the more accelerated rehab that we're able to have can now be as short as 8 to 12 weeks, whereas traditionally using screws to hold this together, this was often a 3 to 6 month recovery.
Dr. Antoine, great job. If you want more information regarding sports medicine injuries, you can contact Dr. Antoine at AntoineOrthopedics.com. That's AntoineOrthopedics.com.
With over 40 neighborhood clinics around Washington, IRG has you covered. Let IRG be your family's physical therapist. Find the location nearest you at IRGPT.com. That's IRGPT.com.
From whiplash to herniated discs, there are a few car accident injuries we've all heard of. JP Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains that even the most common injuries differ from one another.
Pre-existing conditions, health history, beginning of treatment. There are hundreds of factors that make every person and every injury unique. While these variables aid medical treatment, the strongest case recoveries must also take them into account.
Could you explain a little bit more?
Our team at Pendergast Law is obsessed with turning over every stone to differentiate each case. This requires thorough investigation, diligent listening, and relentless research. We never pursue cases with a one-size-fits-all approach. We built our success by treating every injury and every case with the individualized attention our clients need and deserve.
Pendergast Law's individualized approach to even the most common injuries makes the difference in case outcomes. It's another reason why I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
At Shane Company, our engagement rings are the perfect blend of design, function, and beauty. Each one a unique work of art. We meticulously craft our bridal jewelry in our jeweler's workshop to the highest standards, expertly setting each diamond by hand, ensuring the structure is perfectly balanced, and sizing everything for the perfect fit. Shane Company offers a free unmatched lifetime warranty because your engagement ring is an heirloom that was made to last. You'll cherish your ring today, tomorrow, and forever. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Listen throughout the week to the Mariners Player Spotlight.
Ever since I got here, I want to win a World Series in Seattle, and this city's starving for another winning team.
Presented by Muckleshoot Casino Resort. Seahawks Insider. Brought to you by Pacific Lamp and Supply. Now here's Maura Dooley.
The Seahawks will be facing the NFL's leader in sacks on Monday night in Lions defensive end Aiden Hutchinson. He's already racked up 6.5 sacks in 3 games. Geno Smith spoke to the media yesterday about the challenges in facing him.
Yeah, we got to find 97, man. He's off to a great start. Obviously, he's a high draft pick, and he's a guy who they're going to, rely on. And so if we can stalemate him, keep him from making, big plays and getting in the backfield and, getting TFLs and sacks, then, we make it harder on their defense to stop us. And so we'll definitely have a plan for him, know where he is at all times, and just make sure that, we trust our guys to block him, but also making sure that we have a plan in place to, make sure that he's just not, running free all day.
The Seahawks Insider is brought to you by Pacific Lamp and Supply. For the latest on the Seahawks anytime, go to seattlesports.com.
As a Washington State business, you can take advantage of Labor and Industries' no-cost safety and health consultation program. We can help you build out your accident prevention plan, meet safety obligations, and reduce your risk of costly safety citations. You can have us look at a single item or your entire facility. And consultations are confidential, which means you will not be cited if a hazard is found. You'll just need to fix it, and we can help you with that as well. There isn't a safety question we can't help with. To learn more, visit lni.wa.gov/consultations.
Hey everybody, Bob Stelton here for Johnson Fitness and Wellness, where I got my home gym. Now the difference? Their expert staff. They ask great questions like, what are your fitness goals? What kind of space are you working with at home, and what's your budget? Johnson Fitness and Wellness experts get you the right machine for your home gym dream setup. And right now, in-store only while supplies last, mention this ad and our listeners get an indoor cycle for free with Select Force USA Home Gyms. Shop stores in Bellevue, Tacoma, Linwood, or visit johnsonfitness.com.
This is the day of the big sale at your gift shop.
Welcome in.
So this isn't just a big day for your business. It's a big day for the network keeping it all connected. That is, if it can handle the pressure.
Next in line, please.
So is it possible to get business internet you can really count on? It is. With 99.9% network reliability from Comcast Business. It's like this neat little bow.
Do you like that gift wrap?
Really ties it all together. Reliable internet for your business. It's not just possible, it's happening. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Switch to Comcast Business and get started with reliable internet and advanced security for $49.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Plus, ask how to get up to a $500 prepaid card with a qualifying internet package. Don't wait. Call or go online to switch today. Offer ends 10/13/24. Restrictions apply. New customers only with 150 megabit per second internet. Eco bill and auto pay required. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After 12 months, regular rates apply.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
The Seahawks have won their last 5 matchups against the Lions. The scores of the last 3 games, 37-31. That one went to OT. 48-45, 51-29. Again, the last 3 games, the Seahawks have not scored fewer than 37 points, and they have won all 3. I'm not saying that this team is an exact replica of those teams. It's clearly not. There are different faces, some same, some different. Nor am I saying that this is guaranteed to be a shootout. The Lions offense is actually still kind of trying to get its stuff together. It's struggled in red zone scoring, and it's gotten the under in its last 3 games. However, man, tell me if I'm wrong. This Monday Night Football matchup between the Seahawks and Lions has all the makings of a shootout.
It could be, right? When you look at total points per game for each team, the Hawks are averaging 24.3. That's 9th in the league. The Lions are averaging 20.7, 16th in the league. Now let's look at their defense. Defense is allowing for the Hawks 14.3, 4th in the league, 17.7 for the Lions, 9th in the league. So I'm looking at this and saying it's going to be a close game. I don't think teams will get into the 30s. I don't think they'll be in the teens. I think they'll be right around 24 to 27
just an
points.
Av.
Yeah.
That's short for average.
Oh, that's what that is? Okay.
Yeah, I just invented it.
Just an average type of game as far as the scores, but I think there's potential for explosive plays because of Amon-Ra St. Brown, because of the running backs, because of DK, and what you have over there. I would prefer it be a closer, lower scoring game because I feel like the secondary for the Seahawks are capable of locking down these receivers and making this team be one-dimensional. If you make this team be one-dimensional, then I think your chances are up. Jared Goff isn't having the greatest year neither. I mean, he's not having a horrible year, but he's not having the year that we've seen in the past. If it becomes a shootout, I think that favors the Lions. If it's a closer game, I think it favors the Seahawks.
I agree, unfortunately. It does feel, though, like it may be that. Let's talk about the actual analysis of this game, look at the strengths and weaknesses and why it has the potential to become a shootout. Again, just my luck is going to be that I say this feels like it's going to be a shootout and it's going to be like, 10-7, and people are, you know nothing. However, I got a couple things to point to here. First, the Detroit Lions. That is a young secondary. We had Lomas Brown, part of the Lions radio network, on with us yesterday, and we said, tell us about this secondary, what's going on there. He said, we've got a really talented group, but they're young back there. There's still a learning curve they're figuring out. He said, I think Terrion Arnold, who's their first-round pick, is still trying to learn what is and isn't pass interference in the NFL. Bump, guess how many defensive pass interference calls have gone Terrion's way, have been called on Terrion Arnold in the last 3 games? Four defensive pass interference calls. They have allowed 100-plus yards to at least one receiver in 2 of their first 3 games. In that third game in which they didn't, they still allowed 100 yards on the ground, which doesn't speak to a shootout. I'm just saying that this is not a defense that has been quite as stout as we're familiar with. Pass rush has still been amazing. Aiden Hutchinson has still looked phenomenal. But that secondary can be picked apart. Again, they're very good, and that pass rush makes up for that youth, but there are opportunities here for DK, for Jackson, for Tyler.
You got a veteran back there as well, Super Bowl champion Carlton Davis. He joined the Lions after spending 6 years with Tampa Bay, so there's some veteran leadership back there, but yeah, you're right. Arnold has been flagged a bunch. I'm hoping that trend continues because DK has an opportunity to do something that no receiver has ever done for the Seattle Seahawks. Do you know what that is?
Something that no receiver has ever done for the Seattle Seahawks? No. I was trying to be quick enough to think of something.
Have back-to-back-to-back 100-yard games. How crazy is that? No receiver has done that.
It's weird that not even like the Largents, that not even Largent did that. That is crazy.
Right? It's crazy. So let's hope that continues, man. And you're right. That secondary has shown some weaknesses, and I think that this is going to be – look at their schedule. Who have the Lions played so far this year?
Not in this order, but the Cardinals, Rams, and I'm blanking on the third team. Tampa.
Yeah.
And they lost to Tampa.
Yeah, they lost 31-10 to Tampa. They beat the Rams 16-10, and they beat the Cardinals 20-13. So I'm looking at, I don't know how healthy the Rams were when they played them. This 1 through 3 is going to be the best receiving core they've played all year. You still have Mike Evans and Godwin over there with the Bucs. Then obviously you have the rookie and Marvin Harrison and Michael Wilson over there with Arizona Cardinals. So they'll be tested in a different way. And I'm happy that, well, we're all happy that Ken Walker is going to be back because that can do nothing but enhance the pass game. What the Hawks have going for them as well is that Jared Goff has 4 interceptions. He is completing, 70% of his passes, but he has 3 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He has not been safe with that football. So you get after him. You make them one-dimensional. You make them have to run the football or have to throw, whatever it is. Make them one-dimensional, and I think you're going to be just fine, man, but it's going to be tough. And I'm excited for this because we really get to see what this team is made of.
I absolutely
They got
agree.
3 wins. You respect the wins. All right. Tom Brady has them top 5 in his power rankings. Remember, I hate those. I'm not believing in those anymore.
Oh, I forgot. No, we wanted to do power rankings.
We're doing our
starting
own
next
power
week.
rankings.
We're going to have did we decide Tuesdays?
Yeah, Tuesdays.
10:45?
We'll do like our
Tuesday.
top 10 or something like that.
Didn't we do Bump's power rankings and it was your own power rankings last year?
It was like 5 teams last year.
And
it was like a vibe list.
It was like, Bump's power vibe 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so funny.
We'll do something similar to that. But, yeah, man, it's you have to make Jared Goff continue to be the guy he's been, which is turning the football over. You cannot let Montgomery and Gibbs just go off. It's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a stressful one. Just get ready.
Someone said, Stacey, why does it look on the broadcast feed like you're hiding behind your monitor? Because I'm stretching for my 40-yard dash.
Stretching, getting ready.
I'm getting ready
It's
for it.
warming
And we are getting ready for Washington State taking on Boise State here coming up in a week. Wazoo play-by-play man Chris King joining us next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk.
This is as excited as I've been for an NFL game in a while. One of the reasons I'm so excited about it is because I think we're going to learn a lot about the Seahawks, especially about their defense, but about this team, and find out how real some of what we've seen over the first 3 weeks, how real is that stuff?
The best point you make right there is we do get to gauge you against a very competent, very experienced, and very capable quarterback.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Roof now, pay later. Hi, I'm Sam Thomason, owner of State Roofing. Take advantage of our 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for up to a year. We've partnered with leading lenders to make the replacement or repair of your roof affordable. Flexible financing options are available to take the worry out of an unexpected expense. Call us today at 866-ROOF-ROOF to schedule a free no-obligation estimate or visit us at stateroofing.com. That's stateroofing.com.
State Roofing, the best roof you'll ever need.
Overburdened with a bunch of stuff you don't want anymore, but feel bad throwing it away? John here with Happy Hauler, Seattle's eco-friendly junk removal. We prioritize donating and recycling. We'll help get your items to those in need instead of going to the landfill. At Happy Hauler, we pride ourselves on responsibility, community, and sustainability. We're a family-run small business that provides junk removal, donations, and recycling. Make yourself, your community, and the planet happy. It's time to reclaim your space. HappyHauler.com, hauling with a heart.
You know, someone asked me the other day, do you know how many devices the average home has connected to their Wi-Fi network? It's way more than I thought. So I actually went home and counted how many connected devices in my home. It is more than a dozen, all to keep us connected to the good stuff, our streaming, gaming, all the internet, and you name it. Well, Xfinity knows that the number of devices we have connected to our internet is growing by the year. And that's why they engineered their gateways to handle hundreds of connected devices, hundreds for real. And now through October 10th, get 150 megabit Xfinity internet for just $19.99 a month for 12 months with a 1-year contract, and ask how to get an eligible free 5G phone with Xfinity Mobile. Make sure your home Wi-Fi can handle everything you throw at it and then some. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store to switch today. Xfinity, bring on the good stuff. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with store bank account. Equipment taxes and fees extra after promo. Regular rates apply. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity Internet. Actual speeds vary. 1-800-XFINITY.
I'm Bradley Johnson with 1-800-DUI-AWAY. Let's talk about football. Have fun, but be responsible on game day. Even if it's on your best friend's 100-inch 4K UDR and surround sound 5.1. If you feel sacked in the fourth quarter, a designated driver needs to take you to your end zone. If you get carried away with too many Bloody Marys after a few too many Hail Marys, call for a timeout. You get the point. Be safe on game day.
1-800-DUI-AWAY.
I'm Bradley Johnson with 1-800-DUI-AWAY. Let's talk about Google. It's so important, it's a verb. Google it. Then check out our hundreds of 5-star Google reviews. They ended my case with such favorable results that even the judge was surprised. Give yourself the absolute best chance of staying out of jail and give Bradley Johnson a call. I contacted other firms with no call back. I then called Bradley Johnson and scheduled a meeting immediately. Google us.
1-800-DUI-AWAY.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like, to check that your seats aren't in the visitor section first, before buying tickets.
I'm so excited for this game. I can't believe you got us tickets.
Me too. Wait, are we on the wrong side?
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds.
This is going to be a long game.
You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
At the UPS Store, we understand the importance of a first impression. That's why we're here to help you put your best foot forward and be unstoppable with our printing services. With high-quality paper stock options, banners, business cards, menus, and more, we make sure your small business stands out and your message reaches the masses. After all, we're the one-stop prints that pop store. Most locations are independently owned. Product, services, prices, and hours of operation may vary. See Center for details. The UPS Store. Be unstoppable. Come into your local store today and get your print on.
My wife and I always loved doing everything together. Jiu-jitsu, kayaking, and intimacy was always on point. It was around my early 30s when I noticed a downward trend. Watching a lot of TV, putting on weight, and just full of self-doubt. I had tried another men's clinic with disappointing results.
It's the personalized treatment I receive at Revive Men's Health that has been the complete game changer for me. I've got my energy and motivation back. I'm feeling stronger than I did in my 20s, and it made me a much better husband to my wife.
This is Dr. Andrew Allshouse of Revive Men's Health. If you're always feeling tired or moody, or your sleep is poor, you have low libido, you may be suffering from low testosterone.
Book your free T-check and exam. Call Revive Men's Health Seattle at 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit revivemenshealth.com.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
All right, a couple Seahawks injury updates here. This is from Thursday's practice report, waiting to get an updated one. Not participating, guard Anthony Bradford, Jerome Baker, Boye Mafe, Byron Murphy, Leonard Williams, Uchenna Nwosu. The good news is that Ken Walker was a limited participant. That is an upgrade from last week.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. Coming up in an hour, one word to describe the Mariners season. We're going to open up phone lines, let you guys take the mic. Right now, though, only one person gets the mic. It's Wazoo play-by-play man Chris King. He joins us on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Hey, Chris, how's it going?
I'm doing great. Exciting time for Cougar football and a big one coming up tomorrow.
Absolutely. You guys are undefeated right now, and we have had quite a few Coug fans texting in going, wait a minute, why is Washington State not in the top 25? This feels like a snub. And I had my stance on it. But do you feel like they're being overlooked, maybe disrespected, not being included there?
Here's the thing. I could make a great case, I believe, why WSU is a top 25 team. I could take up this whole segment and lay out the case. You look at the wins over Texas Tech and UW. San Jose State, even though that was closer than the Cougs would like last week's 6-day turnaround after the Apple Cup, that's a San Jose State team that was 3-0 on the year. So every team the Cougars have played so far, has been an opponent where they've handed them their first loss. So that being said, and I could go on and on, they're going to have an opportunity coming up tomorrow to be undeniable for the top 25, going on the road to play Boise State, sold-out crowd. It is a hot ticket there on the blue turf. And if the Cougs win that game, like it or not, WSU is going to be in the top 25. Their resume at that point cannot be left out. So what more can you ask for? Another opportunity to prove yourself. And the Cougs are 4-0 on their chances so far.
Hey, Chris, we've seen a lot from this team this year. And also, man, I haven't – the first time you were on our show, I was out. So, congratulations on becoming the voice of the Cougars, man. You've been killing it so far. And how would you describe this team? We've seen Mateer run for days. We've seen him throw the football. We've seen the young running back get involved, the defense make plays. What's the profile on this squad?
Well, thank you, and it was great to chat with you last week. I must say, over the last 2 weeks, if I've ever needed to pick me up at all, I just bring up the video of bump of you after the Apple Cup, and it's better than coffee. It's better than caffeine.
Was it?
To just get the juices flowing a little bit. So, this team, I would say it's just dangerous in multiple ways. If you're looking at the offense, John Mateer, and I know when I, talked to Stacy, it was about a month ago before the season, discussing John Mateer and what the Cougs believed that they had in John Mateer. And we have seen that on display. I mean, John Mateer last week, 501 yards of total offense. That's the most by any player at the FBS level this year. 16 rushes of 10 yards or more. That's the most by a quarterback nationally. So he has the arm. He can make every throw. And what he can do with his legs, we saw that in the Apple Cup. I think back to that 3rd and 20 play right before halftime from the Huskies' 25-yard line, and he runs for a touchdown. And with how tight that game was, that was a huge moment in that game. So, I mean, I think it starts with John Mateer. And, and the belief that the Cougs have had in him, but seeing it actually come to fruition and seeing it on the field. But besides that, a lot of weapons on offense. Wayshawn Parker has had an outstanding year as just a true freshman. Kyle Williams doing more of the same. Chris Hudson, a transfer from Oregon, has done a nice job. And the Cougs have done a quality job of forcing takeaways. I'd say the defense, last week, left some to be desired for the defense. I think they would tell you that was not their best performance, giving up that many points to San Jose State, but they made the plays when they needed to. We saw the Cougar defense hold the Huskies to just 19 points in the Apple Cup, limit Texas Tech in that second game of the year. So, it's not a team that, there's a lot on John Mateer's shoulders, but it just feels like it's been a team effort so far, and this is a squad that has more than one way to beat the opponents.
This is also a squad that dropped 70 in their first game of the season. However, we had some questions about the rushing defense to come out of that game, even though it was an excellent win and everyone was very excited. That same weekend, we saw Ashton Jonty put up 6 touchdowns in a game, and I knew that this game was on the slate for Washington State, and I thought, oh, no, I don't love that.
Did you really think, oh no, Stacey?
Okay, no, I thought, here we go. But Chris, have you seen things improve for the run game? I guess what I'm asking is, if it looked like a nightmare matchup in week 1, have you seen enough improvements for Washington State's defense where you think, I actually think that this is a battle they could win?
Anyone is going to have their hands full with Boise State star running back who is a legitimate Heisman hopeful. He is a legitimate Heisman candidate coming into this game. He's first in the nation in rushing yards per game at 195. He's first in the nation in rushing yards per carry at 10 yards per carry. And he's done that in essentially 2.5 games, because last week against Portland State, they didn't need to have him out on the field in the second half. So he has done all of that in 2.5 games, and he's had success against Oregon. They took Oregon down to the wire. So any team, they're not looking forward to going up against this stud running back for Boise State. I will say, you take aside that Portland State game, you look at what the Cougs did in the Apple Cup against UW. Jonah Coleman is an outstanding running back. He was excellent at Arizona. He had been outstanding so far in the year going into the Apple Cup. And outside of, and I know maybe some Husky fans listening, this might, they might quiver hearing this, outside of the decision on a really important play at the end.
Oh,
They did
come
not
on.
put the ball in his hands. The Cougs did a pretty solid job. He got some quality runs, but overall, he wasn't the difference maker in that game. So, and I think you look back too at Jake Dickert's time as the coach of the Cougs, that, when they played Wisconsin both times, good rushing attack. Cougs kept him pretty contained. You look back at Oregon State last year, kept that good rushing attack pretty contained. So, they're going to be hoping for more of the same, that their experience going up against really high-level running backs, that will pay dividends coming up tomorrow night. Because whether it's Washington State, whoever's on Boise State's schedule, they're going to have a tough time going against, as we said, a true Heisman hopeful.
Yeah, it's going to be rough. Either way you put it, man, you got to be able to tackle and corral that young man, because he's going to get his. But a guy that we need, the Cougs need to get his, again, is Kyle Williams. And we know he's been messing with an AC joint sprain. What's his status for this week, if any?
Talking to Coach Dickert this week, he hasn't said anything as far as, concerning or, negative as far as his ability to go. So, talking to Coach Dickert, that wasn't brought up as something that is, a high-level concern about his ability to go. So where we're at right now, it seems like all systems are a go. And, against San Jose State, that was a tough position that the Cougs were in that game. For those who, and I know Bumpy did a great job on the TV broadcast, you look back at that game, and when San Jose State got a touchdown with 26 seconds left to go, looked like the Cougs goose might be cooked in that game. But with 26 seconds, 2 timeouts, they went from their own 25, got into field goal range. Dean Janikowski made that 52-yarder. But the biggest play that was part of that was that big chunk pickup to Kyle Williams. He had over 100 yards in that game. So, another thing about this team that has been the case this year and really the last couple of weeks is it doesn't have to all rest on Kyle Williams' shoulders. Josh Meredith, a guy who has been around the program for a number of years now, a redshirt junior, he's had the best 2 games of his career these last 2 games, 89 yards and a touchdown against San Jose State, had 111 yards and a touchdown against Washington. So he's a guy who has elevated his game and just another weapon for John Mateer to air it out to.
We've been having a similar conversation when it comes to the Seahawks and Lions. The Seahawks have had, I think some people would say, an easy start to their schedule defensively, facing kind of subpar quarterback talent and backups. And so one of the things that we've been talking about is like, what would a win say? Kind of throwing the same question your way. The circumstances are slightly different for Washington State, who are already 4-0, and that's really impressive. But what would a win over Boise State say?
I think it would say a lot. I mean, this is a team that has, passed every test that has come its way, and you can make a case that last week against San Jose State was, an ugly win, but an ugly win is a win. And 4-0 is where you want to be at this point, especially when you had early season games against Texas Tech and Washington. And, Coach Dickert is not telling this to his team, but we're having this conversation. And this is, you look at the schedule, this is, as of right now, the hardest game left on the schedule. You could make a case that 3 of the first 5 games for the Cougs are their hardest games. You could also make the argument that their next game, it'll be a bye next week, and then the game after that at Fresno State, after the Boise State game, is their hardest game remaining. So there is a great possibility this year to rack up a lot of wins. If you can escape Boise with a victory over the 25th ranked Boise State Broncos on Saturday, I think Coug fans have been allowed to dream and to hope. I think you can really add even more fuel onto that fire about what the ceiling is for this team when it comes to the win-loss record the rest of the year. And, every week is a challenge, and nothing is a better example of that than that game last week against San Jose State. But, I think this would be a major feather in the Cougs' cap if they could get this victory over Boise State. And, nationally, too, that, there's the Apple Cup win that got a national attention. But if you go on the road to beat a top 25 team, as we talked about at the start of this conversation, you're not going to be denied anymore being a top 25 team yourself.
Yeah, that is the hope, man. This is going to be a huge game for our guys. And it sounds like they may be getting offensive lineman back. I'm sorry if I butcher his name. Fa'alili, I believe, was suited up last game against San Jose State, but didn't get any time. Any word on his status for this week?
Yeah, so it sounds like Fa'alili Fa'amoe is a go, and that is, something that's going to be not only for this week, but, encouraging for the rest of the season. He is considered the anchor of the offensive line. He's the right tackle for the Cougs, and the guys who have been out there have done a really, admirable job throughout the course of the season. Without Fa'amoe, they got the Apple Cup win. They got the Texas Tech victory. But if you get the guy who is your top offensive lineman back, who Jake Dickert, again, is described as the anchor of the offensive line. Jake Dickert has also called him one of the top right tackles in the country. That's huge. And then how you can mix and match the offensive line the rest of the way, because he'll take over for Christian Hilborn. He has some, positional versatility. But this is an offensive line. And I love this line from Jake Dickert because I think it rings true. He said, offensive lines are made in the slow cooker, not the microwave. And the starting offensive line we've seen for the Cougars this year are all returners. And I think that continuity has helped at the start of the season. And you throw in the guy who, is considered the most talented member of it, and you get him back, then it's just really encouraging for the, capability for that unit the rest of the season.
I know Bump was impressed with that line. His eyebrows went all the way up. Just bar.
That was a bar.
That was a bar. That was a really, really good one. Was that the first time did he make that up?
He said a lot.
Jake Dickert?
He's got bars.
Dang. Wow. That's really cool.
Yeah, we did this because not because we hate them, because we love us. My bad. Go ahead,
He's got
Chris.
sayings that I hear that, man, that I just like, wow, he has a way with words. He does.
Yeah. Jeez. Okay. All right. Kind of looking ahead at this one, I'm going to throw a very simple premise your way, but I like doing it for previews because sometimes it helps just simplify an approach to the game. Washington State wins if what, Chris?
I think if John Mateer puts up similar numbers that he has before, if the offensive line can keep John Mateer clean, I think the Cougs like their playmakers. Here's another Jake Dickert line I'm going to throw your way. He says, we want to be like NASA. We want to own space. Get the playmakers the ball in space, and that's huge for the Cougs. And can the defense, stiffen up compared to last week? Will it be a better performance? Will it be more like what we saw from the Coug defense in the Apple Cup against Washington? Less so compared to what we saw against San Jose State. The takeaways have been good. Can the takeaways still be there? And, the sack number's been a little low. It feels like they've been close, kind of an eyelash away from, really getting that sack number to jump up. Will this be the week that can happen?
That was an amazing line, too. You need to, text us or tweet at us when Coach Dickert says these things. Like, we need to be like NASA and get guys in space.
And own space.
And own space. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Fire.
Yeah,
he's a broadcaster's dream. He tells me these, and I'm just like bumping. I'm just listening. I'm like, wow, that is great. I can't wait to reuse that. So.
All right, tomorrow, 7 p.m., the 4-0 Washington State Cougars taking on Boise State. Boise State, number 25 right now. This one is going to be on the road for Washington State. Chris King on the call. Thanks so much, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
It is a Football Friday powered by the Snoqualmie Casino Sportsbook.
I got something I need to say.
Yeah?
To my wife, Jennifer Bumpus.
Oh, no.
Babe, I'm sorry, okay?
Wow.
I'm sorry.
Wait, why?
Where's this coming from?
You know, I woke up this morning, and she makes my lunch and gives me coffee, and I appreciate it every morning she does it for me
your
and
lunch
my
always
kids.
smells so good.
It's always so bomb. And I'm driving home to work today, and I take a sip of my coffee. Babe, it's the worst coffee that you've ever given me.
Oh, no.
It's the worst. It was bad, but I powered through. And I go, okay, you know.
That's love.
Things happen.
Yeah.
Then I open up my lunch, and I got a peanut butter jelly sandwich.
Ooh.
Man.
So I don't know what I did. I don't know what I did, babe. I am sorry. I apologize.
Something's
I am wrong.
amiss here.
You are right. I will do that and not that. Whatever you need, I apologize.
Get the blankets out from the coat closet.
No, listen.
Sleep
When
on the
you,
couch.
because I'm telling you guys, Bump's lunches are always delicious, and Jen cooks them, and it'll be like lasagna. A pasta,
My God.
steak, and something.
We're approaching the portion of the year where she packs him with his own mini crock pot.
Yeah, because it'll be like hot food.
Mm-hmm.
Answer sincerely. When you opened your lunchbox, your little Nike lunchbox, and you saw all that space around the sandwich and just a sandwich in a bag, did your heart stop? Did you fear for your life?
I just went back through the last 3 days, and I go, what did I do? What did I do?
We don't know what we did.
So I'm sorry, babe. I'm sorry. The coffee, I powered through, though, babe. I got my caffeine fix. I'm
I just
sorry.
love that immediately, instead of like, oh, I love PB&J, it was just, oh, no.
What did I do?
Oh, no. And then you're just mentally taking a step, and then it wasn't this, and then she went to the store, and I said, no, but then.
I know I forgot something.
Yeah, but then we watched a TV show after that, so she seemed okay.
Has she been short with her text responses or not getting back, within a normal amount of time?
It's a bit slower today. It's a bit slower.
Curtis, have you ever had a similar experience where Brenna did something and you thought, I don't know what I did, but I know I'm in trouble?
Yeah, I can tell by the speed at which she texts me back during the day, or just
or if she says okay.
Yeah,
period.
or not enough. I look at the punctuation in her text or something like that. I'm just kind of like, either the girls have done something or I've done something, and I don't remember doing something, but I probably did do something.
Oh, if I add a period
or something maybe
onto
I
a text.
didn't do.
Oh,
I got context.
Yes.
Okay, so she's listening. She goes, 1, you're fired.
Oh, no.
She goes, 2, you got the wrong lunchbox today.
Oh.
So spaghetti was what she made for me. So this was for the kids. Okay, cool.
That's
I'm good.
beautiful.
I'm
That's
good.
love.
I'm good. Thanks,
That's
man.
love.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Jen, we know you're listening. Your lunches always smell very delicious. Curtis and I are always very jealous. Okay. Let's get to headline rewrites.
Extra, read all about it.
Headline rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bump and Stacy.
I do love the idea of either Michael, Kobe, or Jada opening up their lunch and going, nice.
Right? Spaghetti?
Dang.
How are they going to warm it up, though?
Cold spaghetti's not bad.
No, it's not.
That's okay.
Headline number 1, undefeated Washington State as their biggest road test of the season so far. That's against number 25 Boise State tomorrow. What's the real headline?
Excited to watch the next chapter in this storied Pac-12 rivalry.
Yeah, it's going down. This is going to be a trophy game in about 5 to 10 years, man. Doesn't just Washington State against Boise State just sound and feel right? Like, this is supposed to happen.
Yeah, it
Doesn't
does.
it?
I mean, I'm really excited for the game. Like, I'm sincerely, if this becomes a regular rivalry, I'm like ready for it.
Well, it is. We're going to play every year.
I know. It's just, it doesn't have that old rivalry feeling.
No,
yet.
it's going to be a new one.
Yeah.
Coach Dickert already said we're keeping the Apple Cup.
It's a new money rivalry.
We'll start a new trophy. But this is going to be big, man. They have the best running back in the country over there in Boise State. Their offense is just it revolves around him. They're going to pack it in, run the football, hop out there, and then 12 personnel, 22 sometimes. I mean, they're going to make this a physical game. UW got the Cougs ready for a game like this because that UW game was pretty physical as well. So we shall see, man. This is big. It's going to be tough. I know I'm a Coug, but I'm also a realist and understand the challenge that these guys have in front of them. If they can get this one, goodness gracious, it's going to be a huge win for Coug Nation.
Headline rewrites.
Headline number 2, somebody had to win between the Cowboys and Giants last night, and it was Dallas who did that with a 20-15 victory. What's the real headline?
Honestly, I kind of just wish I could get my Thursday night back. Do you have anything you want to say about the game? Because I want to throw some injury updates your way.
Go for it.
Okay. I want to know what you think about Dallas potentially being without 2 of its top defensive players for several weeks. So Micah Parsons suffered a high ankle sprain. He's going to miss 1 to 4 weeks. Meanwhile, DeMarcus Lawrence suffered a foot injury. He's going to be out for about the same period of time. There is a world where Dallas, not until after their bye in week 7, gets their 2 best defensive players.
I mean, their defense is already struggling. I mean, they can't stop anything right now. So you put more pressure on the offense. Here's the thing. When the offense is firing, they're one of the best in the NFL for sure. So your $60 million quarterback has to play exactly like that because they have a what do they have coming up? Let's see. The Cowboys play Pittsburgh, who's a good defense, Detroit, and then you have the San Francisco 49ers. Oof. This is a tough stretch coming up right here. It's not looking good for the Dallas Cowboys, but they won the game they're supposed to win against the Giants. I would say Vegas is going to have them beating the Pittsburgh Steelers too. Mm-hmm. After that, they'll probably be underdogs.
There are a couple teams that we thought would be really great who are off to slower starts. The Bengals, the Lions. I don't know that I can throw Jacksonville in there. They're off to an 0-3 start, but we didn't think they'd be great. Between the Bengals and Lions, is there one team you just have more faith in general that they can turn their season around?
Is there one team that I think? It's the Bengals. Yeah. It's the Bengals for sure. I mean, Baltimore, it feels like they're turning it around, right? Baltimore can do it, but if Cincinnati does not win this next ball game, man, goodness gracious, Cincinnati is going to feel like the Cincinnati that I grew up watching. So you have a couple listeners responding to your story about fearing that your wife, Jen, was upset with you because you got a horrible cup of coffee and a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. One said, well, now Bump has to take his lovely wife out to a really, really nice dinner because she said, oh, you know, one of the lunches was switched with the kids. Mm-hmm. Multiple people saying, what about the coffee, though? Someone said,
riddle me that.
Okay, that explains the sandwich, Bump, but you said the coffee was the worst. What's up with the coffee? What's going on?
Well, here's the thing. So she has this expensive little espresso deal that she uses, and she was struggling with her coffee too. So before I left, she was trying to figure out what was wrong. So maybe it was
maybe it was like a sample cup where it's like, oh, I was testing.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
But it was made with love.
But coffee is like, you know, alcohol. You just drink it for the effect, not really the taste.
Totally.
Headline rewrites.
Headline number 3, the Huskies travel to Jersey tonight to face Rutgers in their first ever Big Ten road game. What's the real headline?
Hey, I'm running a short side option here. Hey.
Bibbidi-bobbidi.
That's our Jersey accents. We're from Washington State.
This is going to be the first real road test right here, man. All the way on the other side of the country. Rutgers has a good running back over there, Kyle Montague, I believe his name is. He's 6th in the country when it comes to rushing, 457 yards and 5 touchdowns. We'll see. I'm interested. Mm-hmm. I haven't been more interested in a UW game since the Apple Cup or the national championship game, obviously, just because I want to see how the styles match up, because we're so used to seeing a certain logo against a certain logo and understanding what the style and the feel is going to be. This is completely different. So I'm actually excited for this game. I want to see what UW does.
Hopefully not the same play call that Jedd Fisch had against Washington State. I hope that they take that on the playbook and never do it again.
Here's the thing. If they block that correctly, it might have had a chance. No joke. It's an option. They didn't leave anybody to option.
Jedd Fisch over here? If we executed it the right way.
No. I don't like the call. It's in the boundary, but it had no chance because
that is true.
Because of the way they blocked it.
Yeah,
it was done.
It was immediately not a broken play, but immediately executed wrong.
Well, I know Bump saw this, but Stacey, did you see in the Cougs' next game against San Jose State, the Spartans ran that exact play and converted it against Wazoo.
Ran it to the field.
Yeah.
Left a guy to option.
You just know.
The guy that UW was supposed to leave to option is the guy San Jose State left to option, and it worked. But it was to the field.
I don't want Jed to feel validated with that.
Man.
I don't want him to feel good about that.
He doesn't. Trust me. He don't have the cup. He don't feel validated.
God. You're listening to Bump and Stacy on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app. A Chicago Bears player has some advice for his offensive coordinator, Shane Waldron. Plus, bad injury news for the Cowboys gets worse. It's all coming your way next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk.
Hey, it's Brady Anderson. If the Seahawks win on Monday Night Football, beat a good Detroit team and start 4-0, are we starting to have like real legitimate, is this a Super Bowl contender kind of conversation? I think we are,
Maybe,
right?
yeah, because then you just knocked off one of the other NFC teams that's considered to be a Super Bowl contender. Meanwhile, another NFC team that has been a Super Bowl contender for the last few years, the 49ers, they're dealing with their own injuries.
And they're going to be at best 2-2.
Right.
And streaming live on the Seattle Sports app.
To me, the LJ way is to provide an experience that people really enjoy being a part of. And they enjoy being a part of it because they're getting great service. They're talking with somebody that actually they feel cares about them. They care about what their impression is going to be walking away. It's also understanding you're now part of our family, and thank you for doing the business with us. And this is how we're going to show our appreciation through customer service. We're going to show our appreciation with taking care of you if you ever have an issue. Majority of the people that are coming to see us are within our community. These are people who are providing maybe services that we also use in our community. So the LJ way, to me, somebody can come into a retail setting and not feel like they got to have their guard up. And that's been a long-standing thing in the car business that, we've tried to shake.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
Build better benefits for your employees with the MBA Health Trust. The Master Builders Association of King and Snohomish County offers quality and affordable health benefits for local builders. See what the MBA Health Trust can do for you at MBAHealthTrust.com.
Someone asked me the other day, do you know how many devices the average home has connected to their Wi-Fi network? It's way more than I thought. So I actually went home and counted how many connected devices in my home. It is more than a dozen, all to keep us connected to the good stuff, our streaming, gaming, all the interneting, you name it. Well, Xfinity knows that the number of devices we have connected to our internet is growing by the year. And that's why they engineered their gateways to handle hundreds of connected devices, hundreds for real. And now through October 10th, get 150 megabit Xfinity internet for just $19.99 a month for 12 months with a 1-year contract, and ask how to get an eligible free 5G phone with Xfinity Mobile. Make sure your home Wi-Fi can handle everything you throw at it and then some. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store to switch today. Xfinity, bring on the good stuff. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with store bank account. Equipment taxes and fees extra after promo. Regular rates apply. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity Internet. Actual speeds vary. 1-800-XFINITY.
At State Roofing, you can trust us to get your project done right because we prioritize quality and excellence in everything we do. Take advantage of 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest today, and don't pay until 2025. Call State Roofing at 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com.
Tommy! I can't wait for golf this weekend, huh, buddy? Time flies. Love you, man. Oh, don't forget your knee brace again. We aren't in college anymore.
Moments together matter, so help protect yourself from RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes, you're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV, and there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Right now at Wendy's, you can get a small Frosty for $1. And literally everyone is going. The car behind you, going to get $1 Frosty. The car ahead of you, already had one, going for a second. The person who cut you off earlier, you guessed it, $1 Frosty. Maybe it's all a sign for you to go get one. Just don't cut anyone off. No one likes that person. The iconic Frosty for $1, gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Not valid in a combo. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, California, and via third-party delivery.
Subscribe to the Seattle Sports YouTube page to find new and exclusive content from your favorite shows and personalities daily. Just head to YouTube, search Seattle Sports, and click subscribe. Seahawks Insider, brought to you by Pacific Lamp and Supply. Now here's Maura Dooley.
Right guard Anthony Bradford has struggled with penalties to start this season. He's currently tied for second most in the NFL with 6. With Mike McDonald saying that this year's third-round draft pick Christian Haynes probably deserves some more playing time at guard, many have wondered why we haven't seen him splitting time with Bradford more. Offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb explained that yesterday.
Just technique and power. I mean, I think that just raw power at the guard position in the NFL is so critical, and that's why obviously, Anthony can withstand a lot in there. Just his sheer size and just what he can take on the inside. So I think for Christian is not getting overpowered and overwhelmed.
The Seahawks Insider is brought to you by Pacific Lamp and Supply. For the latest on the Seahawks anytime, go to seattlesports.com.
So, how's your research going?
Surprising. After I figured out the top-rated TVs in our price range, I went shopping for deals.
And who's the best?
It wasn't the internet, and it wasn't the warehouse club.
But?
It was video only. They had better deals on the Samsung, LG, and the Sony TVs that got the highest scores.
Better than online and at the club?
I know! Video only beat them all. And now we can afford an even better model for the same price. My research really paid off.
If we buy it video only.
Exactly. Otherwise, we'll be sorry.
At Video Only, you won't find huge stores with refrigerators or microwaves, but you will find the best deals on top-rated TVs, soundbars, and monitors. Shop around. Just make sure you visit Video Only, because if you don't,
you'll be sorry.
In South Center, Bellevue, Linwood, Federal Way, and Tacoma, Video Only.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential. But finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Taking a look around the NFL, we are going to start in Chicago, where Bears tight end Mercedes Lewis told the media he wants Shane Waldron, their offensive coordinator, former Seahawks offensive coordinator, to just relax a little bit more. This is after Chicago's slow start on offense.
It's just not for play. You know what I mean? Like, this is our job. We understand that, it's a high, stressful, and production-based business, and we all got to be doing the same things or everybody gets fired. On the team or on this offense, we have dudes that have done it at a high level. And so sometimes as a coach coming in, you may, be walking on eggshells, and I just kind of put that to bed. Like, it's not, nobody's sensitive in here. We want to win games just as bad as you do, and it's a collaborative effort.
I'll throw on to this bump that Adam Schefter on the Pat McAfee show said that Shane Waldron apparently put everything on the board that he screwed up on that week, and just in an effort to be transparent with the team about, like, this is what I did wrong.
Man, it ain't sounding or feeling good over there, Shane Waldron. I don't think it seems like he might not be cut out for this. Not for an OC position. Maybe a position coach, but I'm watching his demeanor. Like, in football, there's so much emotion that's involved. I feel we feed off of energy from our players and from our coaches. Me just watching Shane Waldron makes me concerned. The play calling makes me concerned. The play of Caleb Williams. He's a rookie, but you would expect a bit more out of him at this point. And then you have Mercedes Lewis sounding like he is the coach of the team, calming the offensive coordinator down. It's not looking good over there, man. And I feel for Shane Waldron. Maybe he's in over his head.
I know that you've had things that you've liked about Shane Waldron, and like as a person, I know you've talked to him and interviewed him and stuff before. Were there things though that as a play caller you saw in Seattle that you now see in Chicago and go, man, you got to tighten this up or you got to fix this?
I haven't watched enough of Chicago's games.
But were there things? What things in Seattle were you like, Why?
The two tight ends in the backfield as running backs was concerning for a little bit.
Yeah.
I was okay with it, but nothing ever grew from that. It was just a gimmick, and there are some things that would show up and disappear, and disappear. So when I see that happening, there's no real philosophy going on. You're just kind of throwing things on a wall and seeing what sticks. I don't know if that's happening in Chicago or not, but when you have your player who's dang near 40, he's a grown man, he's been in the league for a while, coming out and he's trying to calm the situation down, it's all bad.
I feel like this is also a reminder in how difficult it is to be a coordinator and a coach in the NFL. Shane Waldron, clearly a brilliant person.
He's smart. He knows
you know
the
what
game.
I mean? Yeah, Shane Waldron knows more than any reporter, any blogger, any pundit, anything. It's still that hard because you got to have leadership. You got to be able to translate it, and you have to be able to respond and adapt. Like, man, like it is a smart person that may not be winning, essentially, literally with the Bears, but also as a coordinator. Next up, some good injury news for the Lions. Tight end Sam Laporta, who was dealing with a low ankle sprain, was back at the open portion of the team's practice today. If he's playing, what do you make of the weapons Goff's going to have at his disposal and how they could attack Seattle?
Laporta is the next great tight end in this league. His rookie year, he tore it up. He's coming in this year more confident. He's having a down year so far. Hasn't produced a lot, but we all know the capabilities of that young man. If he's ready to go, the run game is going to be that much more dangerous because if you're able to get the run game going, the tight ends become more influential in your offense. They can down block, leak out into the flats or the seams. It just allows Jared Goff to be more creative. And the thing about Jared Goff, too, is he's good with the football. You know, we talk about Aaron Rodgers' play action, hiding the football and all that stuff. Jared Goff is extremely efficient when it comes to play fakes and play actions and hiding the ball. And those type of things combined with the run games gets the tight ends open. I hope Laporta does not go off this weekend or this Monday.
The 49ers are starting to get some good news health-wise. George Kittle with a hamstring issue, Deebo Samuel with a calf injury, Trent Williams, who's been sick, and Brock Purdy with back soreness all practiced on Thursday. Kittle told the media he's headed towards playing Sunday against the Patriots. They have been so snake-bitten to start the season, San Francisco has, but at least that's some good news. They're obviously still waiting to see what the deal is with Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, when they're healthy, we know exactly who they are. Brock Purdy's had a decent season so far this year, too. Hasn't had his weapons the last couple of games. It's nice for them to get healthy against New England, a team you expect them to beat, and then you hit the division with the Arizona Cardinals. That's going to be a big test there, too, because I think the Cardinals are a lot better than what we thought going into the season, what other people think. But health is key. Health is key. If you don't have your weapons, Brock Purdy just looks like the average quarterback out there. So we shall see. We see him in, 3 weeks? So see how healthy they are then.
Bad news for your boy Gardner Minshew. He's going to be without Devontae Adams, who has a hamstring injury on Sunday against Cleveland. Also ruled out in this one, Max Crosby. I'm not feeling great, Bump, about the Raiders' chances, and that's knowing that Cleveland has been so up and down this year.
I know that's weird, right?
Right.
Cleveland has not been the greatest, but when you look at them on paper, they got a couple of names out there that can get it done. I haven't completely given up on Deshaun Watson and saying, like, he's a bust, he's washed, we'll see what happens. He's only completing 57% of his passes, but all you need sometimes is that one game to remind you who you are and what you're capable of doing. That might happen against the Raiders. I'm still wondering, who are the guys that Coach was talking about making business decisions, man? I wish Antonio Pierce would let us know. But if the Raiders have a stretch that, if they can win this one and get healthy, they can beat the Denver Broncos in week 2. Then they're sitting there at 3-2 on the year, getting ready for a tough stretch with Pittsburgh, the Rams, and KC. But no one's expecting the Raiders to do much this year.
Yeah. Next up on ESPN's This Is Football podcast, Mike Greenberg shared an interesting name he's heard that's climbing 2025 draft boards.
And let me make it very clear.
For something.
I am not an analyst. I ask the questions.
Yes.
So I can tell you that there is a great deal of sentiment that Cam Ward could wind up being someone whose name we hear very early on that Thursday night in Green Bay. People love him.
Are you surprised to hear that Cam Ward could be a name we hear very early in the 2025 class?
Not at all, man. If you're paying attention to what he did the last couple years at Wazoo and what he's doing at the University of Miami, no surprise, completing 72% of his passes, 1,400 yards, 14 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. He's only been sacked twice. He also has a good running game over there with Martinez, the running back that came over from Oregon State. Misha Powell, a DB who came over from UW. I mean, Miami did a great job with their NIL, their collective, and getting talent down there. Not surprised at all. In my opinion, he should probably be the front runner for the Heisman Trophy right now, but because of higher profile athletes and different programs, he's in the mix though.
All right, next story here. Giants rookie wide receiver Malik Neighbors set an NFL record. He's got at least 25 catches and a touchdown in each of his first 4 games, 3 touchdowns in each of his first 4 games.
He said 25 catches? No
it says
way.
At least, maybe they mean combined. At least 25 receptions. Oh, yeah.
About to say.
At least, I know. Just kidding. No, my bad. At least 25 receptions and 3 touchdowns in his first 4 games. So he's the first player to record at least 25 receptions and 3 touchdowns in his first 4 games. He was taken to the locker room, though. You guys all watched Thursday Night Football. You saw what happened. And then he later posted to Instagram, all good. Thanks for the prayers. Said he's feeling better after this game. He's feeling great. That's fantastic. My question isn't about his concussion or him being in concussion protocol. My question is about your own analysis of wide receivers. Obviously, you had your eyes on Malik Neighbors. You already knew about him. We knew Seattle wasn't going to get him. What have you made of his start to the season, maybe compared with some of these other young names? Because it was a great receiver class.
Yeah, it was. And Neighbors was up there. You had Brian Thomas, who was in the mix as well, Marvin Harrison, Roma Dunze, who's had a slow start to his career so far, but I think it's bigger than this role over there in Chicago. The thing that impresses me the most about Malik Neighbors, and what impresses me the most about great athletes, is just body control. The way he can control his body when the football is up in the air. He has great hands, good vision with the rock in his hands. As of now, he's leading the league in yards, but he has a game on everybody because he played on Thursday. 386. He's got 52 targets already.
Crazy.
So New York, hey, they're not BSing. They know we got to feed this young man. If we drafted him, we will use him. And that was my big concern: was Danny Dimes going to be able to feed this young man?
Yeah.
He's doing exactly that. Also has 3 touchdowns, man. Malik Neighbors looking good.
He's one of those guys, it's like I always pump the brakes on fantasy football editions, but he's one where I go, not a great quarterback, not a great offense, but maybe.
Yeah.
He might get 1 or 2 games where you go, oh, man, so glad I took this guy off the bench. All right. Coming up at 1 p.m., think of your one word to describe the Mariners season. Please keep it radio friendly. I don't want to have to hang up on you. One word to describe the Mariners season. You are going to call in 20 minutes. Before then, we're going to talk about what the Mariners actually can build on, what we liked from this season, and then what went wrong. That's next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk.
This is as excited as I've been for an NFL game in a while. One of the reasons I'm so excited about it is because I think we're going to learn a lot about the Seahawks, especially about their defense, but about this team, and find out how real some of what we've seen over the first 3 weeks is. You know, how real is that stuff?
The best point you make right there is we do get to gauge you against a very competent, very experienced, and very capable quarterback.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Days are getting shorter. Football is back. Our team is starting out strong. We don't want your sinusitis, allergies, and congestion coming back strong as well. Hey, it's Dr. Ryan Stern of the Stern Sinus Center. My team specializes in fixing your ENT issues. From allergy workups and treatment to modern nasal breathing procedures to advanced balloon sinuplasty, we can diagnose and treat your problems. Let us help you get the relief you need. Come see us in Federal Way or Auburn or at sternsinus.com. That's sternsinus.com.
How would you like to have a brand new roof in time for winter? And even better, how about an honest local contractor known for their quality work? If you use Asset Roofing, you will have both. I can personally recommend Asset Roofing. Now through winter, if you need your roof replaced, make sure you get a bid from Asset Roofing. Get a free estimate now at assetroofingco.com.
Certified work that's never in doubt. Asset Roofing, excellence is on the house.
Hey, it's Dr. Coogan with Eastside Weight Loss Clinic. Summer's over and you've had your fun, but now it's time to get back on track.
Stop feeling frustrated and overwhelmed and start being excited about the new you that's possible. We want to be your teammate. No gimmicks, no tricks, no drugs. Just teaching you how to turn your body into a fat-burning machine and keep it off for the long term. We know the secret for fast and lasting weight loss using real healthy foods and lifestyle strategies designed to reset your metabolism. Schedule your free consultation online at eastsideweightlossclinic.com.
There's a lot of things I love about this Eastside Weight Loss Clinic program, and it's not just the 35 pounds that I lost in 8 weeks. That was big, but it's keeping it off. It's the sustainability, and this program does it better than anyone else.
Our program has successfully helped thousands of people lose 20 to 30 pounds or more in just 60 days. You can start our program in person in Kirkland or virtually from anywhere you live. Schedule your free phone consultation today by calling 425-588-0080 or eastsideweightlossclinic.com.
Dr. Ryan Coogan, D.C. Results may vary.
Free consultations, no fee guarantees, 5-star reviews. J.P. Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains the importance of going beyond these familiar offerings.
Accident victims want an attorney, Tom, that satisfies their needs. Someone who handles those needs with the highest degree of care. Pendergast Law offers the no-fee guarantees and free consultations, but these only scratch the surface.
Okay, explain more.
We make sure that every member of our team is genuinely passionate about helping others. Customer service and communication are our top priority. It's how we take care of our clients so they always feel one step ahead of the insurance companies. Our strong reputation for high standards provides comfort and confidence when it's needed most.
Pendergast Law offers the free consultations, the no-fee guarantees, and of course, they are 5-star rated. But what really makes them different is their genuine passion for helping others. I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
That's PendergastLaw.com.
Shane Company knows fine jewelry. That means a lot when you're looking for a dream engagement ring, a beautiful keepsake, or the perfect gift. Come see us in store and compare our wide selection of diamonds, rubies, and a rainbow of sapphires in different shapes and sizes. Create your dream engagement ring and browse our selection of fine jewelry gifts. From diamond studs, tennis bracelets, birthstone necklaces, and more. With our everyday competitive prices, an unmatched free lifetime warranty, Shane Company knows how to work with your budget, not against it. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Seahawks Player Spotlight.
Man, it felt good to go out there and be able to contribute.
Exclusive interviews with your favorite Seahawks.
You know, we got a genius as the head coach.
Every day with Wyman and Bob.
911, what is your emergency?
There's a fire in my building. Please send help right away.
What is the address of the fire?
My address. Hold on. Oh, wait. The fire sprinkler just went off, and it's putting out the fire.
Good to hear. The fire department will still be dispatched as a precaution.
Fires are fast, but fire sprinklers are faster. Fire sprinklers get water on a fire immediately to protect you and your property. Install fire sprinklers in your home or business today. Brought to you by Puget Sound Area Fire Protection Contractors.
Hey, babe. Yeah, the bank password is moneybags, but a $sign instead of the S.
Mr. Moneybags here is about to get his identity stolen.
Wait, what?
If he used 1Password, he can share logins, credit cards, and other important information with just his wife, not the whole store. Sir, your card's been declined.
Again?
Security is complicated. 1Password isn't. And right now, get a free 2-week trial at onepassword.com. That's 2 free weeks at onepassword.com.
Hypertrophic cardiomyopathy is a serious heart condition. Some symptoms include being short of breath, feeling tired, or having dizziness or chest pain. My HCM impacted how I felt and what I could do. So I asked my cardiologist about treatment advances that gave me new options. That conversation was big for me. That's why I'm working with Bristol-Myers Squibb to raise awareness about HCM and to help others like me. Talk to your cardiologist today and visit hcmrealtalk.com to learn more.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you know that these days, generating growth is a challenge. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll not just stay ahead of the curve, you'll move it. With access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2024 Bank of America N.A.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
It's a Football Friday powered by the Snoqualmie Casino Sportsbook. We're talking baseball here, though. One word to describe the Mariners season. Think of your answer. Don't call yet. You're just going to be waiting on hold for a long time. But think of your answer to that. One word to describe the Mariners season, and then you got to tell us why. Bump, we already gave our words and kind of talked about what this meant. So instead, I thought we'd do a little bit of a primer and just talk about what happened this season and what we saw, what's sticking with us, what the season meant for us. I will say this.
Oh, man.
Maybe because we talked quite a bit about the A's earlier, I'm in this weird kind of like be grateful about this mode, and I am grateful about this.
Do you have great speeches Thanksgiving? I am thankful for.
No, but I should.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like we should do that the week of Thanksgiving. Every single day we should be like, I'm so grateful for. I'm not going to make us do that.
Okay,
no. I love that they have this starting rotation. I hope that they don't need to deal from it, and I really am glad they have Julio and Cal heading into the season. You aren't starting from nothing. I'll give them that.
Yeah, that sounded like a Thanksgiving. I'm thankful for.
No, what this sounded like is like when I'm about to complain about something and I go, so I guess I'm grateful to be alive.
Well, I'm thankful for the effort at the trade deadline to make this team better.
Yeah.
Because they really did. I mean, we're not satisfied, obviously, and we feel like this team underachieved for sure, but you can't deny that they went out and tried to make something happen at that trade deadline.
They sure did.
There were some names that were out there that were not moved. Vladi Dottie was one of them. What was it? Tucker was another name. Bellinger was another name. I don't think any of those guys got moved. The biggest name that was moved came to Seattle. So thank you for that. Also, I mean, I'm going to double down and say just the rotation, man. I mean, how many games did these guys lose allowing less than like 3 or 4 runs? You know, and they battled every single night.
Yeah.
And I couldn't imagine being one of these guys in the rotation, knowing that I just had a quality start. Might not be enough.
Yep.
I gave everything I had, and it might not be enough. So I'm thankful that those guys hung in there. And I don't know what their attitudes were like. I don't know what
I'd
the
have a
vibe
separate
was
group
like.
chat for sure.
Yeah, they definitely had a separate group chat. They had separate dinners and everything. Like, hey, rotation only. Y'all tripping. But they gave the M's a chance every single night.
Okay. Now we are getting to what went wrong. There's a million possible answers, so I'm kind of asking you a question that's very complex. So just what springs to mind when I'm like, Bump, why aren't the Mariners in the playoffs?
The first thing I think about, and it's almost unfair, I just think 44. I think 44 took too long to get going. It's unfair, but that's the burden that's placed on you when you are the best player on the team, is that you have to lead the charge. The best player on this team right now for the Seahawks, I'm going to say, is Geno. He's the most important player. If he doesn't play well, this team does not win. Every team has that player that is relied upon, and for the Mariners offensively, it was Julio, and he just had a down year. In his down year, he still did something that only 3 or 4 other baseball players have ever done, which is start his first 3 seasons in the 2020 club. So, I look at 44, and I think that players like Julio understand that burden is placed upon them, and they accept it.
Yeah.
And I think the more comfortable he is with that, the more confident he is when he's struggling. And having this Edgar around, it sounds like having Edgar around. I couldn't imagine. There are some coaches, I've been coached by some guys, and they'll tell me something, I'll be like, bruh, you were not even half of the player that I was coming up. As a young man, as I got older, you realize that those coaches have a perspective that you just don't have, and they can still help you. So I would imagine at some point Julio is like, come on, man, just let me do me. And then you don't know who's talking to him, or his dad is telling him, hey, just swing like you've always been swinging. So there's so many other influences. When you have a guy like Edgar Martinez, statue out in front of that thing, and he's talking to you, you have to listen. So unfortunately, I start with 44 because I think you have to always start with the best player.
When you move on from 44, and I don't think you're wrong, what do you find yourself getting to? Because when you mentioned 44, when you were like, Julio's part of it, you needed your star to be a star, I thought, exactly right. Perfect answer. That is a huge part of it. And then I thought, but maybe you should have built a team that didn't rely so much on Julio to be a star. So that's where my mind went. What about yours? What other things are you looking at?
And then I'm looking at, then I go like JP. Because I think if JP had the year he had the year in 2023, I think that alone is enough for 3-4 more wins.
Agreed.
And this team, it's a bit tighter when it gets down to the stretch here at the end. So you always go with the leaders, man. And then, of course, you go upstairs. I mean, because you look at the guys, this roster, I think this roster was good enough to get into the playoffs. Everyone just had to play to their potential, and it's so hard to do that consistently throughout a year. We've seen it for the most part with the rotation, but for the guys who step into the batter's box, they just didn't do it. So I understand we're going to be hard on the Mariners. That's what we do, right? We're analysts. We're hard on them. We point out the strengths and the weaknesses. We'll do the same when the Seahawks lose. How did they lose? Why did they lose? And we're hard on them, but I also look at their efforts and say, I get what you were seeing. I understand what you were doing. These guys just didn't play to their potential. So, that was about where you go from here. But yeah, I start with 44, and then I go JP.
I think it's fair though to start with player stuff. It's like a bigger conversation that I like having about the Mariners is, okay, well, how do they fix this overall? Like, I'd love for them to open up payroll a bit more. I'd love for them to evaluate, like, should we bring in a 32-year-old that may or may not work out, or should we just spend a little bit more? But it was also player execution. Because your point about, hey, we thought it could be a playoff team is exactly right. On paper, it was constructed enough to be so. Everything also just kind of went wrong. So now you got to figure out, like, well, why? Like, what happened here? Like, was the evaluation of this player so off?
Right.
Did the ballpark contribute? Did this guy just suddenly drop off? Is he going to have a big year next year? Like, what's going on? So that kind of thought process is a way to lean on summarizing this season. For instance, let's say you look at the stuff you liked and you go, honestly, one word to describe the Mariners season is falling short, but maybe you still feel hopeful. Maybe one word is...
It's 2 words.
Okay, well, I'll allow 2 words. I'll allow something quick.
Academic prowess.
Okay, enough. One word to describe the Mariners season. Call now, 866-979-3776. One word to describe the Mariners season, 866-979-3776. That's next.
Seattle Sports has your chance to win 4 tickets to watch the Seahawks host the New York Giants October 6th.
Throw deep, got DK open, touchdown, Seahawks!
Head to the Seattle Sports app, click the Win tab in the bottom of the right corner, and enter for your chance to win.
A 71-yarder to DK!
You can enter once per day, so the more times you enter the Seattle Sports app, the better your odds will be. Do it every day, September 25th through September 30th. Details and rules at seattlesports.com/win.
Jake was suffering from osteoarthritis when his doctors asked him to consider surgery.
However, there's a 9-month recovery period where essentially you're not walking and you're not putting much in the way of weight on.
That wasn't going to work for him, so he decided to see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine for stem cell therapy.
I heard the ads, and that caused me to do due diligence.
And how are you doing now?
There's not really any pain now at all. I have no limitations in what I want to do.
Wow, so you're able to do anything you want to do?
I recently played golf at Cycle House down in Pebble Beach, walked 18 holes, which I hadn't been able to do for a number of years, and then went for about a 2-mile walk with my friend.
I take it you'd recommend stem cell therapy to others then?
Absolutely. Had I known then what I know now, I would have done this several years ago and saved myself a lot of pain and suffering and agony and limitation to activity.
Before you choose surgery, consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Schedule your consultation at drmarkwagnermd.com.
We're here with Corey Heston, owner of Heston Door Service, with big news. Heston Door Service has been voted best garage door company in the Pacific Northwest by you, the people, in the Seattle Times.
It's crazy to think 10 years ago it was just me working out of a driveway. And now my team has been voted the best garage door company in the Pacific Northwest. We take pride in the work we do in the business we created. And we wanted to thank everyone for trusting us to be your number one choice.
Corey, how can we learn more about you?
You can check us out at HestonDoorService.com.
Someone asked me the other day, do you know how many devices the average home has connected to their Wi-Fi network? It's way more than I thought. So I actually went home and counted how many connected devices in my home. It is more than a dozen, all to keep us connected to the good stuff, our streaming, gaming, all the interneting, you name it. Well, Xfinity knows that the number of devices we have connected to our internet is growing by the year. And that's why they engineered their gateways to handle hundreds of connected devices, hundreds for real. And now through October 10th, get 150 megabit Xfinity internet for just $19.99 a month for 12 months with a 1-year contract, and ask how to get an eligible free 5G phone with Xfinity Mobile. Make sure your home Wi-Fi can handle everything you throw at it and then some. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store to switch today. Xfinity, bring on the good stuff. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with store bank account. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra after promo. Regular rates apply. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity Internet. Actual speeds vary. 1-800-XFINITY.
Come on out to the last June Fan Gung Fu fitness class of the summer this Sunday, September 29th, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Pier 62. Learn Bruce Lee's dynamic martial art at Seattle's new Waterfront Park. Taught by instructor Abe Santos, June Fan Gung Fu combines self-defense and fitness. 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. this Sunday. It's free, no experience needed, and open to all ages. Visit waterfrontparkseattle.org to sign up for a Friends newsletter and stay up to date on more events planned through autumn and winter. Seattle's new waterfront is being built for you, so come enjoy it. Brought to you by Friends of Waterfront Park.
I'm Bradley Johnson with 1-800-DUI-AWAY. Let's talk about the true cost of a DUI. The humiliation, heartache, and fear are only the beginning. A DUI is a gross misdemeanor with serious consequences, like jail time, fines, and license suspensions. There's some bitter surprises, too. DUI hinders employment, other legal matters, and even custody outcomes. Don't even get me started on insurance premiums or being turned away at the border. You need the true value of our top-rated lawyers. We're fighting for you. So call 1-800-DUI-AWAY or go to 1-800-DUI-AWAY.com. The real cost of a DUI conviction is like a cell phone bill. There's a lot tacked on. Fortunately, your investment in 1-800-DUI-AWAY can pay for itself many times over.
1-800-DUI-AWAY!
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy two. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
Right now at Wendy's, you can get a small Frosty for $1. And literally everyone is going. The car behind you, going to get a $1 Frosty. The car ahead of you, already had one, going for a second. The person who cut you off earlier, you guessed it, $1 Frosty. Maybe it's all a sign for you to go get one. Just don't cut anyone off. No one likes that person. The iconic Frosty for $1, gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Not valid in a combo. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, California, and via third-party delivery.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
2 injury reports here, both from Ian Rappaport. First, Packers quarterback Jordan Love, who suffered a sprained MCL in Week 1, practiced on a limited basis every single day this week. He's officially questionable for Sunday. Meanwhile, some bad news for the Raiders. They're going to be without Max Crosby and Devonta Adams for Sunday.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. It's a Football Friday, powered by the Snoqualmie Casino Sportsbook. Speaking of, we're going to continue our preview for Boise State, Washington State, coming up at 1:30. Before we get to that, let's have a tough conversation here. Maybe you're optimistic. I don't know. Maybe you're angry. I have no idea. One word to describe the Mariners season. It's not officially over, but they've been eliminated from playoff contention, and we are seeing you guys sounding off on X.com, on the Mac and Jack's text line. So call now, 866-979-3776. I know you guys have thoughts about it because Bump and I are seeing them. So call 866-979-3776. Don't be shy. One word to describe the Mariners season. Isaiah calling from Seattle. Isaiah, what word did you choose and why?
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking the call. I used the word culture. It may sound kind of odd, but for maybe about 20 years, watching to see this team, this organization. They just don't have the winning baseball championship culture ingrained in this organization. Because you look at organizations that have done it and have continued to do it year after year. When they bring in free agents that come in that are supposed to be good, they stay good, right? I mean, we keep talking about who are we going to bring in, who are we going to be trade for. Why does it matter? Every free agent pretty much that we bring into this ball club does absolutely nothing. But when they leave, like most recently, off the top of my head, say Oscar Hernandez. Did he just win? Wasn't he just an all-star? I mean, what did he do when he was here? He's just one of the many examples. Guys, when we have a winning championship culture in the organization, we had it with Lou Piniella, when he was the manager. That's something that this organization needs. Somebody that's going to go in, be in charge, be the baseball guy, and we get a GM like Pat Gillen that knows baseball. Bring the supplies in for Lou Piniella. They didn't bring Lou Piniella what he needed when we won 116 games. They banked on the fact that this organization was going to do it with some players we had that were playing over the top of their heads.
Hey, Isaiah.
We knew do it.
I got a question for you because I really like your answer. And I'm asking you a question because I'm thinking of it right now. I'm so on board with your point about they don't have a winning culture. Like, you'll hear people go to Houston, you'll hear people go to the Yankees, you'll hear people go to the Dodgers and say, well, they win here, and, like, there's a respect inherent to that. How do you build a winning culture if you haven't won yet? Like, that's what I want to know is how did the Mariners hit the ground running in April, and, like, how do you build that up without winning? Is it about accountability? Is it about discipline? What is it?
Yeah, I mean, that's what Lou brought. That's what I remember him bringing here, man. I remember when they brought in Jeff Cirillo, from San Diego. He's supposed to be this guy that had this record of no errors for a long time. They come in here and they pay him. There's your bat. Guess what? The minute he didn't start producing, he starts chirping, he sits him down. What do these guys have, for 9 years? Scott Service was the manager. What did he bring for 9 years? You got to know in 3 years in baseball, at the very minimum, are you a good manager or not? Are you bringing that identity or not? If not, man, it's time to go. Don't give these fans 9 years of misery because that's what they've done. It took them that long to decide Scott Service is not the guy to give them that identity that they need.
Yeah. All right, Isaiah, thank you for the call. Isaiah says culture. They don't have a winning one.
That sounds like a fire diss track, honestly. He started real calm, and then you feel the passion.
As I said, I'm going to turn this up now.
He goes, you know what? We just getting into this thing. I like that one, honestly, because there are some places you go in any sport, right? You can talk like youth sports, for example. There are like 4 soccer clubs in this state to where they win. Mm-hmm. You show up, you kind of fall in line because there's a history of them winning. Same thing with schools. There's some schools that you go to in this state, they win. You go there, you fall in line, and you do it. And then there are other schools who are trying to figure it out, other universities, whatever, any type of team. They are trying to figure it out, and there's nothing to really hold on to that says, this is how we do things, this is how you win ball games. There always takes a group to be the pioneers to really try to lay that foundation and show the personnel that comes in, all right, this is how we have decided to do things. But that's the hardest part. That's where the Mariners are right now. Is like, is Dan going to be the guy? Is Julio going to be the guy? Like, what is it going to take for the Mariners to have a winning culture? It takes winning, but it takes an approach that is proven through 162.
And it's also something where your culture is healthy if people are saying that. For instance, I got so used to people saying that with the Seahawks of like, oh, it's really beautiful here, that I thought it was just coach speak or player speak. I thought it was just something people were saying. Right. And like there are a lot of organizations around baseball, around the NFL, wherever, where there are players who have thought, I've been with 3 different teams and I genuinely loved all 3. Like I genuinely loved playing with all 3 of these teams. However, I notice when people don't say it. And I notice when like Victor Robles saying like, I love it here. Like, this is amazing. I noticed that because I realized, like, man, I wish players would say that more often, and I wish they felt that way more often. So I think that can also be a measure of things that are improving or of players feeling like their home is the more players you hear that after the season go, I love being here. Like, I love being here and I want to be here. That's good. You want more of that.
Who else have you say that? I can't think of anybody else who said that on this
But that's what I'm
roster.
saying, because it was noticeable. When Victor Robles said it, I was like, dang.
No, now I'm going to start listening for it.
Yeah, I know. All right. One word to describe the Mariners season. Cody calling from Missoula. Cody, one word to describe the M's season. What you got?
Insanity.
Why is that, Cody?
Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And I'm insane, too, because I'm watching every Mariner game this year like, we could score. We're going to score here in the ninth, and then we don't. How many times do we watch a game? It's the same story. Pitching lights out, no offense.
Yeah.
And I'm just as much to blame. But it could also go for the way we build our team. It could go two ways, the way the season went and the way we are deciding to build our team with, old guys on the back end of their career or guys just on a downward slope that we're trying to get out of the old man bargain bin, kind of feels like.
Thanks for the call, Cody. That old man bargain bin, man.
Old man
what
bargain
pains me
bin.
is there's people born in the 90s in the old man bargain bin. I hate seeing it. But I'm also done. I'm also done pulling from the old man bargain bin. And I think that Cody's point about doing the same thing over and over and feeling fooled almost is probably how a lot of fans feel.
I think they might have visited the old man bargain bin during the offseason. I think during the season, you went to the old man bargain bin with JT, but he's different.
Yeah.
He's 38, 39,
He
but
was
he's
from
a
the
champion.
vintage bin.
Yeah. He was up on the shelf. He wasn't in the bin.
He
know
was
what I'm
in the
saying?
collectibles.
Yeah, because you bring over Polanco, you're trying to figure out what's there. Luke, and then you bring over a Mitch, and you're in the old man bargain bin. But then their approach at the trade deadline was a bit different. You're not in the old man bargain bin. You're at like a Target or something like that. You know what I mean? Me too. Great place. But yeah, I agree. I think that you set the tone during the offseason.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Rarely does a move at the trade deadline save your season and just propels you to places that you never thought you could be.
Mm-hmm.
No, one or two players rarely does that, especially in baseball. So I think the calls are 2 for 2 right now. I think during the offseason, stay away from the bargain bin. Go ahead and shop at Target, and then during the trade deadline, you see what else is out there and try to improve.
Look, and if Jerry and Justin need to go to Target, I will go with them. If anyone needs to go to Target, I'll go. Fine, I'll go with you to Target. We can be there for several hours. 866-979-3776. One word to describe the Mariners season. Call now. 866-979-3776. Let's go to Scott in Redmond. Scott, what one word describes the Mariners season?
Well, I'm just going to go with roller coaster because there were some highs and there were some lows, just like the ride. But, when we were 10 games up, I would never thought we would have been there. When we were up, I would have told you we'd been third place, just like we finished. I would have said Texas and Houston would have finished over us. We rode our season on our starting pitching, which was phenomenal. One of the best rotations since Smoltz, Glavine, Avery, everybody down in Atlanta, Maddox. But they only went 6 or 7 innings. And then what happened after 6 or 7 innings, we tanked. See, what makes a winning team and a culture, I love what that guy said, it is a culture, is maybe Dan Wilson, and I hope Edgar stays on, it's talent. And you got talent on your team, and if the players buy into what the coaches are selling, you will be successful, just like in football. Everybody on the Seahawks are buying into McDonald's.
Mm-hmm.
Same players, different coach. But that's kind of what the season is, and I don't know. And I think I've been watching the Mariners for years, and I'm like the other people. I watch them and I can turn them off when you're done. But I'm still going to be a Mariner fan. It's hard sometimes. You stand there, you go, are you kidding me? Not this again, just like the other caller. It's like, really, again? 7th, 8th, and 9th inning, we're ahead, and then we lose. So it's been hard.
All right. Thank you for the call. And I would imagine a lot of people felt very much like they were on a roller coaster too, Scott. Let's go to Clem in Tacoma. Clem, one word to describe the Mariners season is what?
Situational. Their inability to play situational baseball. You get a runner at first and second, no outs, somebody must score. I heard our former manager say, why sacrifice a bunt? Why sacrifice an out? Try to hit the ball out of the ballpark. You don't have enough people on your team who can hit the ball out of the ballpark once or twice a game. So I just think, I guess to explain it is, they just didn't seem like they knew what they were doing when it came to offense. How can you have a pitching staff like the Mariners had, and you can't get 3 to 4 runs a game before the 5th inning? If you look at a lot of the Mariners' runs, they came when the relief pitchers came in. The manager, what did he talk about? Oh, we went up against a good pitcher. All 5 or 6 or however many starters the Mariners have this year are good pitchers. And other people were able to figure out how to get 1 to 2 runs before they went to their bullpen from our starters. But I'm hoping that the Mariners don't lose some pitchers because they don't want to play, regardless of how good the team is next year.
It's a good point,
When
Clem.
their time come up, they're gone.
Yeah. I'm going to build on – thank you for the call, Clem. I'm going to build on that for just a second. I worry that. I share Clem's fear of, like, is Logan going to want to stay here? Is George going to want to stay here? And I hope they do, and it's why I so desperately want them to build on the pieces they have and continue to win and you know, be what they felt like they could be when they hit that home run against the A's and sent themselves to the playoffs, which is this really exciting young team. So I hope they continue to do that. What do you make of the idea of situational baseball just being a massive failure for this team?
I agree. The part where I will push back is situational baseball comes down to talent too. Recognizing pitches, getting your hands in the zone, being on time, right? I mean, as soon as the batter walks into the box, it's on him at that point. You could have your philosophies and your techniques and say, all right, you know, apparently Julio's been listening to Edgar. That's what kind of been the turnaround for him. But when it comes down to it, you got to have players with that clutch gene who will come through and drive that run in for you. So I agree with Clem saying that situational baseball was bad, but how do you make that better? It's not just taking hacks in the batting cage all day. Yeah. You got to have that in you. Can you recognize pitches? Can you drive it into the gaps? Can you be clutch in those moments? I'm not sure there are enough clutch players on the roster.
I absolutely agree. Good point. Let's go to line 2, Rob. Rob, what one word would you use to describe the Mariners season and why?
Failure. Plain and simple. It's failure. What was Jerry DiPoto's number one stated goal going into the offseason? Limit strikeouts. I'm going to trade Eugenio Suarez. I'm not going to give Teo a qualifying offer, and I'm just going to let him walk. And I'm going to, using his words, reimagine the roster with guys that can put the baseball in play. What place did the Mariners finish in as far as strikeouts go? Last.
Yeah.
It's
First.
an absolute failure. Like the fact that, and I'm going to try really hard to keep my emotions under control because ownership does not get a pass during all this. Yes, they suck. We all know that. But the bottom line is, like Mike Salk said this morning, 6 of the 12 teams that are going to be in the playoffs spend less money than Seattle does. Like, Jerry DiPoto keeping his job through all of this is something that, and then the amount of fans that will go on message boards and just parrot, it's the ownership's fault. Well, guess what? Yeah, you know, it sucks that they don't spend money, but it's any business. Any business has a budget, and it comes down to the CEO, the CFO, whoever it is, the general manager in this case of baseball operations. It's his job to put people in the positions to do the job correctly. And then on top of it, that's the stated goal of the offseason, and then all of a sudden we have the best starting pitching staff
in basically, I mean, I've watched baseball a long time. I don't know that I can name, other than going back to like the mid-'90s Braves, a better pitching staff that stayed completely healthy, not just this year. Castillo missed a couple starts at the end of this year. That has been a completely healthy starting rotation for 2 consecutive years. Like, but I can't even organize my thoughts. If you got time for a little bit more, the people, if you don't notice, everybody that wants to talk about these analytics and RBIs don't matter and yada, 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 guess what? A pitcher pitches different with nobody on base than they do with people in scoring position.
Yeah.
RBIs absolutely matter. I played at a decently high college level. I can tell you right now that every single player that I can look back to that was a good teammate, good baseball player, they drove runs in. They got hits with people in scoring position. They hit to the right side when there's a guy on second base with nobody out. There's a guy on third base with less than 1 out. Guess what? He needs to score 85 to 90% of the time. This team is a complete and utter failure. That's what they are.
Thanks for the call, Rob. Rob said, no need to kick me off. I'll hang up.
Rob makes some good points. Pitchers do pitch differently, right?
That's
you
facts.
talk about situations. Guys that are runners in scoring position with no outs or 2 outs, it changes the pitcher's mentality and his performance because there's something called pressure that you can't measure, right? Then you talk about striking out. The year that the Mariners went to the playoffs in 2022, they were 11th in the league when it came to strikeouts. From that point, they're like, look, we want to, for a couple of years now, eliminate strikeouts. 2023, they were second. This year, they were first. So they actually got worse. Right, so there's something going on with the evaluation of players and how they will perform on this team. What else did he mention? He had a couple good points. He also mentioned
I like him mentioning that strikeouts was part of, like, you can't come out and say, oh, it wasn't a failure because, blah, blah, blah about the playoffs in baseball is disappointing sometimes. If Jerry Dipoto said, my goal is, was that it?
No, it was what you got me thinking. The spending money. And he pointed out that, look, 6 of the 12 teams that are going into the playoffs spend less than the Mariners. They're just better with their budget. They know how to budget better. They know how to eval better. So when people have that, when that argument is out there, I go, yeah, you're right. But the decision-making with that budget is the difference. We're not saying go out there and spend $100 million more than what you've been spending. But if that's your budget and other teams have a lower budget, then your evaluation and the way that you're choosing to spend just isn't on point. So how do you help that? Me personally, make the decision easier and go get a player that costs a bit more to kind of accelerate your process instead of relying on a system that just hasn't been working for you.
Let's go to John in Normandy Park. John, one word to describe the Mariners offseason is what?
Construction. And I'll add a second word to that, inept construction. The way that this whole thing going, Julio, obviously 23 years old, you got the man no help going into this offseason. You got Cal, basically no help. They brought in Mitch Garver as their DH with no intention of ever having him catch a game. But towards the end of the season, they had Sebi Zavala, they DFA'd, and whoever else they did. I mean, without Cal in that lineup being the Iron Man that he is, most guys would have taken injuries and been on time on the DL. We would have been 10, 12 games worse. It's so frustrating to see they're more of a reactive than a proactive front office. And it boggles my mind why this front office or this ownership group is bringing back Jerry Dipoto for the next 2 or 3 years potentially. I mean, it just seems like Scott Service was the fall guy. Granted, he is to blame, but you can't go to war with no bullets. And Jerry's not giving anybody any bullets to go to war with. So I know your phone lines are probably packed, so happy Friday. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Enjoy your weekend. Thoughts on John before I get to our next guy here?
Love how you pointed out how Cal just endured this whole season, man.
Yes.
And when you talk about at-bats when it comes to catchers, he has 533. That's 4th in Major League Baseball. And we've seen him take a beating behind the plate. So thank you for pointing out Cal's durability during this season.
That's facts. Troy calling from Des Moines. Troy, one word to describe the Mariners season is what?
Buntless.
Buntless. Okay. I'm guessing why, but why?
Well, I mean, I think if you go back over 5 to 7 years, not just this year, how many one-run games have we been in? I mean, it's incredible. We could be, bottom of the 10th, guy on second. We don't even attempt to bunt, and then we lead the league in strikeouts. Okay, so why would you be swinging away when you got a guy already in scoring position? Give him to third and just get a fly ball. I mean, it's crazy. If you look at the past history, we missed the playoffs by 2, 3, 4 games. So many of those games we could have bunted and more than likely got a run in to win.
Thanks for the call, Troy. I'm also going to recommend, if you haven't heard it, Adam Jude's interview. He talks about maybe a potential clashing of philosophy between Wilson and the front office and wonders how they'll handle that this offseason. Recommend that for you. A response bump.
Yeah, man, I wish I could find this quicker, but I remember watching a Mariners game, I want to say in early August, maybe first week or so of August, and the Mariners were actually like third in the league when it came to attempted bunts. So maybe they didn't do them in the situations that our caller wanted them to do it in, but they were pretty up there when it came to attempted bunts.
All right. 253 says, Bump, Stacey, you aren't making me feel better. I'm getting angrier. In fact, can you switch to the NFL? Weather, traffic, ping pong tournament, extreme sports, literally anything? Okay, so here's the thing. Thank you to all of our callers for calling in, and I'm so sorry that we didn't get to everyone. You guys hung on so patiently. My bad. I will keep an eye out and see if I recognize any of those names and get to them first next time because I appreciate you waiting. But we have a big game to talk about, so we will switch gears here. Talking about Washington State taking on Boise State tomorrow. That's next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
Call it now, Dave. Got to make the call right now. This 3-0 start with the Seahawks. Are they the real deal?
Weekdays 2 to 7.
I'm going to say that me saying they're the real deal, but that's not that they're going to go 17-0. I think they're going to be. I think they're going to be what I thought they would be going into the season. I think we had the same prediction. Mine was 10-7, and they don't win the division, but they make the playoffs.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
I have a handful of stories that really affected me personally in my career and how I handle employees. Lee Johnson, coming out of his office as a customer, asked me where the service department is. I was like, yeah, go to the end of the hall, go up the stairs, go across the breezeway, open a door, go to the left. You want Chevy, go to the right. You want Mazda? Because I didn't even have enough time to say, hey, what kind of car do you have? Here comes Lee, and it's like, oh, man, come with me. Let me show you. And then have him come back and not dress me down is just almost like with that fatherly disappointment of like, hey, that's not how we take care of people. I mean, the right way is to walk her down to the stairs, walk her up the stairs, open the door for her, go over, across the way, open up that door, introduce her to somebody. So she's comfortable, she's made it to the right place, and that we value the business. What you did was you made it seem like she was an inconvenience to you. Customers are the purpose of our day.
The LJ Way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
Paid political announcement. A Bob for Bob update. Did you know AG Bob Ferguson failed at defending the $30 car tabs initiative passed by 53% of Washington voters? Beware of Bob dropping the ball when Washington wants less taxes via initiative. Do you want a governor who doesn't succeed when more than 50% of the state votes for lower cost of living? Well, then we have the candidate for you. Vote Bob, because $30 car tabs don't matter. Paid for by the Bob for Bob Committee, 1283 Puyallup, Washington, 98371. Top 4 donors, Steve Gordon, Fremont Dock Company, Brian Haywood, and Susie Burke.
Sure, you can fill up at any gas station. But at any gas station, could you score 2 tickets to a Seahawks game? Sure can't. So head to a 76 or Conoco station and turn your next pit stop into a touchdown. When you buy 8 or more gallons with the Fuel Forward app, you can enter to win 2 Seahawks tickets. Next stop, Lumen Field. See official rules for details. Valid July 29th to December 15th, 2024. Copyright 2024 Phillips 66 Company. All rights reserved.
The multi-dealer Evergreen Fall RV Show this weekend, Monroe Fairgrounds.
Lower prices are finally here.
8 dealers in one location.
Speedway RV Center.
Ryan's RV Town.
RV Country.
Holsville RV.
Open Road RV Center.
Fife RV Center.
Clearview RV.
And Bickford Trailers. The Evergreen Fall RV Show, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Evergreen State Fairgrounds. Sponsored by BECU. First 3,000.
Download $4 off admission coupon
at evergreenfallrvshow.com.
You know, someone asked me the other day, do you know how many devices the average home has connected to their Wi-Fi network? It's way more than I thought. So I actually went home and counted how many connected devices in my home. It is more than a dozen, all to keep us connected to the good stuff, our streaming, gaming, all the internet, and you name it. Well, Xfinity knows that the number of devices we have connected to our internet is growing by the year. And that's why they engineered their gateways to handle hundreds of connected devices, hundreds for real. And now through October 10th, get 150 megabit Xfinity internet for just $19.99 a month for 12 months with a 1-year contract, and ask how to get an eligible free 5G phone with Xfinity Mobile. Make sure your home Wi-Fi can handle everything you throw at it and then some. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store to switch today. Xfinity, bring on the good stuff. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with store bank account. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra after promo. Regular rates apply. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity Internet. Actual speeds vary. 1-800-XFINITY.
For Down Territory, going inside the game with Michael Bumpus.
I like this. More quarterbacks should start doing this.
Every day at 11:15 and 1:15 on Bumpin' Stacy. Seahawks Insider, brought to you by Pacific Lamp and Supply. Now here's Maura Dooley.
The Seahawks will be facing the NFL's leader in sacks on Monday night in Lions defensive end Aiden Hutchinson. He's already racked up 6.5 sacks in 3 games. Geno Smith spoke to the media yesterday about the challenges in facing him.
Yeah, we got to find 97, man. He's off to a great start. Obviously, he's a high draft pick, and he's a guy who they're going to, rely on. And so if we can stalemate him, keep him from making, big plays and getting in the backfield and, getting TFLs and sacks, then, we make it harder on their defense to stop us. And so we'll definitely have a plan for him, know where he is at all times, and just make sure that, we trust our guys to block him, but also making sure that we have a plan in place to, make sure that he's just not, running free all day.
The Seahawks Insider is brought to you by Pacific Lamp and Supply. For the latest on the Seahawks anytime, go to Seattlesports.com.
At Shane Company, we make finding your perfect engagement ring fun and easy. Because let's be honest, you might feel a little stressed out. We get it. That's why we do all the hard stuff. It's our job to bring you the biggest selection of beautiful diamonds and colorful gemstones, so many amazing settings, and all the customization your heart desires. We've got your style and your price range covered, and we're here to guide you every step of the way. Come in for a warm welcome and leave with your dream ring and an experience you'll never forget. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Mariners 2025 season ticket memberships are on sale now, and there are 2 great options to choose from. With a flex plan, you can select your games as you go and switch up your seating location throughout the season. And with a reserved plan, well, you can lock in your games and seats from the moment you come on board. Either way, enjoy access to exclusive pre-sales, no ticket fees, year-round discounts, including at the team store and Hatback Bar and Grill, and so much more. Go to mariners.com/25 today to learn more all about the benefits of becoming a member.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy 2. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
Right now at Wendy's, you can get a small Frosty for $1. And literally everyone is going. The car behind you, going to get a $1 Frosty. The car ahead of you, already had one, going for a second. The person who cut you off earlier, you guessed it, $1 Frosty. Maybe it's all a sign for you to go get one. Just don't cut anyone off. No one likes that person. The iconic Frosty for $1, gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Not valid in a combo. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, California, and via third-party delivery.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
The Seattle Seahawks return home on October 6th, and we're excited to give away 4 tickets for your chance to see them take on the New York Giants at Lumen Field. All you got to do is open up the Seattle Sports app and click the Win tab to find out how. If you don't already have the app, you should download it because it's great. But you can also text the word app, APP, to 866-979-3776, and we'll send you a link to download. Enter daily to increase your chance to win. This contest runs through Monday, September 30th. Coming up in 15 minutes, it's What I Need to Know, so get your questions in, any question, to the Mac and Jack's text line. That number, 866-979-3776. All right, let's take a look ahead. A huge game tomorrow for the undefeated Washington State Cougars. They're 4-0, and they are headed to Boise. I saw this field in person for the very first time. It is exceptionally blue. Like, I know that seems very obvious.
Want to hear a story about that?
Yes, I do.
So I don't know if this is like an urban legend or what, but back in the day,
I love spreading this story, not knowing.
When they first put the blue turf down years ago, maybe like early 90s, 80s or whatever, birds used to nosedive into it because they thought it was a lake.
No.
So they had to change the shade of blue so the birds wouldn't dive into
that's
it.
really
Could be fake.
sad.
I don't know. Someone just told me that.
That's really, really depressing.
Yeah, so you walk out of practice, there's like dead birds on the turf.
Yeah, and you're like, dang, wow, this guy really thought like I'm about to scoop up the best fish you've ever seen in your life.
Chilling.
I know. Okay, so Boise State is 2-1. They are also ranked 25th in the AP Top 25 poll. So the primary matchup in this one is obviously going to be, how do you stop Ashton Jonty? Ashton Jonty in his first game this season with 6 rushing touchdowns. Now, I don't think he's going to put up 6 touchdowns in this one.
You said 5 yesterday.
I didn't say 5. I said 4. I said 4.
Okay.
Was I talking trash with my mic off? Yes. However, I'll back that up. I think Ashton Jonty could go off in this game and absolutely explode. And I do have concerns about this defense against the run. But that is because I haven't watched them that closely since some of those concerns cropped up. Do you think they've improved there?
The Cougs?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they have. You got to load the box, though. Load the box. You got to have your base personnel out there, your 4-3, walk a safety down. You got to be able to man on the outside and make them have to beat you with their routes.
Distract him. Is that a bird? Whatever you can do. Take Ashton Jonty out of this game.
But no, you have to load the box, man. And you have to be able to play man on the outside. Last week against San Jose State, the Cougs stayed in zone early and halfway through the second half, and Emmett Brown was just picking them apart. Then they started to go a bit more man. That's where the plays started to happen defensively. You have to go man because you need as many bodies in a box as possible.
Okay, so question that is actually fair, and I should have been asking when we were talking about this a little bit early. Am I giving the Broncos a little too much credit? Because someone texted in a few days ago and said, why aren't Washington State ranked? And I said, I mean, Boise State with a Heisman candidate is number 25. Do you think you're better than Boise State? I think this is going to be an exceptionally tough challenge. But I realize that I am both eyes set on Ashton Jonty as like, oh, well, that's how they win. What else does Boise State have? Like, is this a team that like is going to just be absolute nails, like an incredibly, incredibly difficult challenge defensively for Washington State? I mean, what's that matchup look like?
I mean, they have a linebacker who leads the country in forced fumbles. You also have on the offensively, they have 2 pretty good young receivers who they like as well. It's these teams resemble each other in so many ways. Not obviously at the running back position, but you do have a guy who could run the QB spot, and then Ashton on the other side for the Broncos. But they're young on the outside, so they like their receivers. There are a couple of DBs who they like as well. It's hard to tell exactly what type of game this is going to be from the Cougs side because we've seen so many versions of the Cougs. So whereas for Boise State, you know exactly what you're going to get.
Like, is this a defense you could potentially, like, could John Mateer go super dual threat here?
John Mateer can go super dual threat against any team that he sees for the rest of the year.
That's very
That's
fair.
not just me gassing him up because he's a Coug. He's the guy. You know what I mean? He is the most mobile quarterback in all the land. It needs to be talked about more when it comes to the Heisman race.
Well, and there's a real chance here for Washington State to improve to 5-0. And if that happens, I agree with our conversation earlier, right, with Chris, that this is a team that should be ranked if they end up beating Boise State. It is a huge matchup, and it's going to be a huge test. Let's see if we can find out exactly how they're going to be tested. We're going to see if we can connect with Bob Beeler on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Bob, do we have you here?
Yes, you do.
Fantastic. So I'm going to throw a question your way that I just asked of my co-host, and that is, Ashton Jonty is clearly the story heading into this one. He is so exceptionally fun to watch, and I really, really enjoyed his season. What kind of punch does Boise State pack beyond Jonty in terms of what Washington State is going to have to overcome?
It's actually pronounced Genty.
Genty.
Genty. They have a really good quarterback who seems to be growing and getting better as the season goes along. Obviously, they have an offensive line that has done a nice job opening holes for him. I mean, freshmen have come in and have, had big rushing totals. Last week, Dylan Riley, who was a third running back, came in and had a 64-yard run for a score. Sire Gaines had 110 yards behind him against Georgia Southern. So I think the line deserves an awful lot of credit. A couple of really good receivers in Cam Camper and Latrell Caples. I think the depth at receiver probably hasn't shown as much as maybe we thought at the beginning of the season. Those two have really been on par, but some of the other guys haven't done a whole lot as receiver, and they got a lot out of Matt Lauder, tight end, last week with 7 catches. So I think there are other people, but I think that Genty is if not the best running back in the country, certainly in the conversation of the top 2 or 3.
Bob, nice to talk to you again, man. Educate us about this Broncos defense. Obviously, Genty's going to get the bulk of the attention as he should, but you got to play defense too, Bob. What they got over there?
Yeah. And I thought watching your guys' game with San Jose State last week and some of the games around in football, it almost looks like defenses are playing with 9 guys because the offenses are having so much success against the defense. But I think it's the key in this one is not give up the big play. I think Boise State has had this year defensively 7 pass plays of more than 20 yards in the 3 games. Eliminating the big plays, and they also have to get off the field on third downs. Opponents are making about 49% of their third downs against Boise State. That's one of the bottom 5 or 6 teams in the country as far as third down conversions. So I think that's what they need to do. They need to find a way that if they've got somebody in 3rd and 8, shutting the door and forcing a punt. And then again, the Oregon game, when we talk about the 9 plays of 20 or more, that doesn't include an 85-yard punt return against Oregon or a 100-yard kick return. So that to me is the area that they need to shore up. If they do, I think they're going to be pretty good.
Is there an Achilles heel right now when it comes to, in particular, the defense? I know that Washington State fans feel like underdogs heading into this one and are trying to find some weaknesses.
Well, as I mentioned, giving up the big play. I mean, they've done very well against the run this year. Boise State has, and they really did last year as well. But they've given up some big pass plays, some deep pass plays. And that to me would be the area that if you told me that they needed to improve the most on defense to go from being pretty good to being really good, I would say that, the ability to defend in the secondary, corners, deep coverage, not let somebody get behind them. And I know that, when Mateer scrambles that, he probably is as effective on the move as he is in the pocket, because when it's on the move, he's got the, defensive players scrambling. His offense is probably just using the term get out and get open once the play breaks down. And I know Boise State is really concerned with that when we get to game time tomorrow.
Hey, Bob, what's the confidence level of the fan base when it comes to Boise State? I think over here, I'm in Washington, we're confident, but we also realize what we're up against. What are the vibes over there?
Well, I think the vibes are getting stronger and stronger over here. I mean, we're back in the top 25 for the first time since 2020. I mean, my first year here was Kellen Moore's first year. So that was 2008. The first four seasons that I was the voice, the team was 50-3. So this team is used to winning. They have the record right now, the current active streak of winning seasons going, 26 winning seasons in a row. Number of championships, including coming out of nowhere to win Mountain West Championship last year. I think the confidence of this Bronco Nation and the fan base is extremely high. I think they like what they see, not only out of the players, but out of the coaching staff. And I think, at least to me, it feels like the vibe in town is significantly stronger than it's been over the last few years.
Yeah, I've got friends there that are so excited. I've been hearing about this game for weeks. So, Bob, if you're comfortable, I'm not sure if you're a predictions guy. Some folks aren't. But if you are, you got one for us for tomorrow?
I'm not usually into predictions, but I think this Boise State team is really, really good. I think this team is going to – it's just – they just have a vibe with them, and Boise State's tough at home. So one stat I'll give you, and I don't know that I'd want to stop at 35 points in this one, but Boise State has won 76 straight games when they've scored 35 or more points.
All right.
And now – If in the game this one's going, I wouldn't be surprised if both teams beat 40. Might be first one to 50 is the winner.
I kind of hope it happens. I'm going to be really honest. I kind of hope it happens. I've really enjoyed watching this team as well. You guys are real fun. Boise State play-by-play man Bob Beeler, kind enough to join us on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Thanks, Bob.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you, guys.
I've been looking up the bird.
Is it true?
I don't think it's true. I think it's like mostly an urban legend, but that there are pictures that Boise State football has posted to past Twitter accounts of birds landing on it. So, like, they know the urban legend exists.
The word got out. There was like, hey, y'all glide into that thing.
I know exactly what I'm doing Saturday in the several hours leading up to this game, and that's getting to the bottom of this story. Get your questions in for What I Need to Know, 866-979-3776.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
John Morosi is here.
I think that in general, this is overall a quality baseball team that just underperformed. And I think that's why it feels so hollow right now, that they were capable of so much more. The way that Julio was ended his season has reminded you of that. And if you get that version of Julio all year long, again, very different conversation. This baseball season is a lesson in the way that the game can tease you and humble you.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Hey, it's Mike Salk here, and for years I've been recommending Riverside Roofing as the roofing company you can trust. Well, what does that mean? Trust that a contractor is going to show up on the day and time you agreed to. Trust that they are going to complete the work and leave you with a brand new roof that's going to last. Trust Riverside Roofing will keep your yard and driveway clean of debris like nails and shingles. Trust Riverside Roofing will give you a roof at the right price. Trust means everything. And when it comes to choosing a roofing company for your home or your business, it should be the deciding factor. I found Riverside Roofing to be exceptional in their work. They're professional. They're trustworthy. They're family-owned local company servicing Western Washington. So give them an opportunity to earn your business this fall. Riverside Roofing has worked with people at the station and listeners I know who've heard me talking about them for 6 years now. So reach out, talk to Dawn or Brandon or Jordan. Find them at riversideroofingllc.com. They are Riverside Roofing, the roofing company you can trust.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your foundation and damaging your home. Cracks in walls and uneven floors are just a few signs your foundation is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Madvey Foundation Repair. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at gomadvey.com. Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
This is the day of the big sale at your gift shop.
Welcome in.
So this isn't just a big day for your business. It's a big day for the network keeping it all connected. That is, if it can handle the pressure.
Next in line, please.
So is it possible to get business internet you can really count on? It is. With 99.9% network reliability from Comcast Business. It's like this neat little bow.
Do you like that gift wrap?
Really ties it all together. Reliable internet for your business. It's not just possible, it's happening. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Switch to Comcast Business and get started with reliable internet and advanced security for $49.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Plus, ask how to get up to a $500 prepaid card with a qualifying internet package. Don't wait. Call or go online to switch today. Offer ends 10/13/24. Restrictions apply. New customers only with 150 megabit per second internet. Eco bill and auto pay required. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After 12 months, regular rates apply.
Hey, babe. Yeah, the bank password is moneybags, but a $sign instead of the S.
Mr. Moneybags here is about to get his identity stolen.
Wait, what?
If he used 1Password, he can share logins, credit cards, and other important information with just his wife, not the whole store. Sir, your card's been declined.
Again?
Security is complicated. 1Password isn't. And right now, get a free 2-week trial at onepassword.com. That's 2 free weeks at onepassword.com.
Did you know that most people wait 6 or 7 years before they buy a new TV? That's a lot of time in front of one TV. So why not get one of the best sets for the next 7 years, like one of the top-rated Samsung, LG, or Sony models? Too expensive? What if you could get up to $1,000 trade-in for your old set? Who would do a stupid deal like this? Right now, at Video Only, you can get big bucks for your old set as a trade-in and a hot price on the new models. Don't be sorry. Check out Video Only.
The Mike McDonald Show. The first word from the head coach after every Seahawks game.
We want to play a certain way, and you're just going to chisel away at it every day.
Presented by Emerald Queen Casino.
Guys, I'll never forget the first time I saw somebody get results at our clinic. He was an 81-year-old man who hadn't been intimate with his wife in over 8 years. Viagra had stopped working for him, and he was desperate for help. After several treatments, he walked into my office and told me he couldn't believe the results. Needless to say, this was a very happy man. This man made me a believer in what we do. He had taken pills for years, but he had never fixed the problem. When he came to us, we fixed the problem. Our treatment does what no pill can do. So give West Coast Men's Health a call today. Speak with our clinic manager. Ask him any question you like, how it works, the science behind it, and even the cost. Change your life today, like the thousands of men who already have.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
Hey, Brock Ewart here with Shannon O'Kelly, President and CEO of IRG Physical and Hand Therapy, inviting you to come work with IRG. And Shannon, what kind of staff are you looking for at IRG?
Brock, we're looking for all kinds of clinical staff, physical therapists, occupational therapists, athletic trainers, certified occupational therapy technicians, physical therapy assistants, you name it on the clinical side. We are looking for those folks. But we are really looking for folks that want to come to an organization that want to be part of our culture and change the culture and work with us to provide the best care and service we can to our patients, our team, and our community. So those clinical people out there, we're looking for you. We also provide advanced certification. We want to provide you mentorship. We want you to grow personally and professionally here at IRG.
With over 40 clinics throughout the Pacific Northwest, you've got the opportunity to work in the city you want. Just head over to irgpt.com/careers. That's irgpt.com/careers.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2
on Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
It's what I need to know. Get your questions into the Mac and Jack's text line, 866-979-3776. Isaac and Everett says, what I need to know. You have to pick a non-sports themed event or festival to attend. Which one are you picking? Like Coachella, Burning Man, I don't know, EDC, whatever. So the point is, I guess what I'm saying is, like, what's the best non-sports event?
Anything with music. So I'm going Coachella. I'll be that old 40-year-old.
I love the idea of
just
you
in the desert with a backpack over, no shirt, just vibing.
A bunch of like 20-year-old girls. They're like, yeah. They give you a flower headband.
Yeah, I would just be so into character. My wife hates this about me, right? We go out, and if I will get into character and be like, I'm this person the whole night. So will you stop? I go, nope. I'm locked in.
Yo, what's Coachella bump? Bumpchella?
I'm just Bumpchella, shades on, drink in my hand at all times. Just that flowy bounce that you get, you know? I'm locked in.
With a weak neck?
Weak neck, exactly.
866-979-3776. Do you dress up for Halloween at work? And if so, what are you going to be? You better be careful with that.
Nah, those days are over. At work, nah. If my kids want me to do something to walk around with them, I'll do that. But like my 14-year-old is probably done trick-or-treating. My 12 and 10-year-old are probably still in it.
There's always like that last year you trick-or-treat when you're a kid, when you realize you're too old, and you kind of feel self-conscious about it, and you're like, I think this is it for me. I think
my last one, I want to say, was 8th grade.
What do you do if kids?
I think it was 6th grade.
What do you do if kids come up no costumes and trick-or-treat? I mean, I'll still give them candy, but like
I'm talking to them. Like, man,
I'm judging,
right?
Yeah.
Like low key, I judge.
Explain yourself.
Yeah. So you're asking me for free candy?
Yeah.
That's what you're doing. If you're gonna trick or treat, go all out, go all the way. Put the costume on.
What's your best costume?
My two best costumes ever. Thank you for asking. One was Oops, I Did It Again, Brittany, with like the full red latex suit and a long wig.
Super long ponytail.
Literally, we went out in Cap Hill. I was stopped for photos.
Hold on, this is as an adult. This is like
Yes, this is as an adult.
College Halloween is way better.
College Halloween's a lot different.
This was in college. Yes,
it's Halloween for a week.
Yes, this was in college.
That's awesome.
All of my college Halloweens were amazing.
Yeah.
I would go all out.
Halloween in Pullman, it is 25 degrees, and we are still out there staying in character. It was awesome.
What I need to know, what's the etiquette of moving to and from your seat at an NFL game? These clowns last week were coming by me on third down. Come on, man.
I don't know.
Wait till a
Never
change of
been there.
possession or something like that.
Or
Or maybe a long play where where everybody's got to rush down the field, get set up.
I'm gonna full disclosure. I'm horrible with seat etiquette. Like, I understand that at games they'll have people, ushers at the top of the aisle that try to tell you, like, okay, you can't come down right now. I'm never paying attention. I'm just trying to, like, okay, I got to run to the bathroom and then I got to run back to my seat.
I did learn going to the Mariners game with my kids when to go for Dippin' Dots. Never when your team is up.
Yeah.
Always on defense. Mr. Bomb.
Oh, no.
And I looked at my son. He started crying. I'm sorry, Dad. I'm like, Santana just went deep.
No.
Goodness gracious.
Let's see. Who will you root for to win the World Series with the Mariners eliminated?
Come on. You know who
Yeah,
it is.
not all of Bump's teams were eliminated, my friend.
You know, the Doyers, baby.
Unfortunately.
The Doyers.
I think maybe Detroit, if they end up making it.
I like Detroit.
Yeah.
My dad's from
They're a
Detroit.
pesky little bunch.
Yeah, easy team to root for, a really improbable path to the postseason. I will be rooting against whoever Houston, or I will be rooting against Houston no matter what they do.
So, how about Cleveveland? Stephen Vogt.
Another one.
Yeah.
Jose Ramirez.
Another one. We don't know if DJ Khaled's going to get canceled.
Phillies?
Hey.
What?
He's in the report. That's
I
for
know.
sure.
What I need to know, I'm looking for that ray gun costume this year.
Pretty easy
There's gonna
costume.
be a lot of those. Someone said trick-or-treating without a costume is just begging.
Facts. I like that,
What
Rocky.
I need to know, Bump, in your football career, what type of conditioning tests did you face at camp? And does 6 150-yard shuttles compare around the league? And how does 6 150-yard shuttles compare across the league? That is one of Mike McDonald's conditioning tests.
We had easy ones. For the Seahawks, it was like 10 110s under like 20 seconds with 35 seconds rest.
Mm-hmm.
In college, it was 18 half gassers. So the width of the field and back in 18 seconds with about 35, 40 seconds rest.
You know, at the Stacy and Curtis Make
That's
You
right.
Bigger,
That's
Stronger,
right.
Faster Than Bump Camp LLC.
Yeah.
Our conditioning we do typing tests.
40 words per minute.
What's your
40.
fastest?
I don't even know.
My fastest was only like 35, 36.
For typing tests,
Yeah.
I bet mine are pretty fast. I'm a
Yeah,
fast typer.
You are.
Yeah.
Stacy Mavis Beacon Ross over there.
This radio thing doesn't work out. I'm
How
heading
do you
straight to the
remember
courtroom.
that? How? I can't forget it.
All right, that will do it for us. Wyman and Bob coming your way next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
Call it now, Dave. Got to make the call right now. This 3-0 start with the Seahawks. Are they the real deal?
Weekdays 2 to 7.
I'm going to say that me saying they're the real deal, but that's not that they're going to go 17-0. I think they're going to be. I think they're going to be what I thought they would be going into the season. I think we had the same prediction. Mine was 10-7, and they don't win the division, but they make the playoffs.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
September is Prostate Cancer Awareness Month, and you may see your favorite football and baseball teams wearing light blue towels, armbands, or ribbons. It's all in an effort to increase awareness of the second most common cancer and the number 2 cause of cancer death for males. Prostate cancer, when detected early, is curable. In Seattle, Swedish CyberKnife offers a non-invasive and highly precise treatment for prostate cancer. When other radiation treatments may last 6 to 9 weeks, Swedish CyberKnife treatment is typically 5 days, and each session lasts less than an hour. The system delivers radiation with extreme accuracy, sparing healthy tissue. The vast majority of CyberKnife patients experience minimal side effects and can continue normal activities during treatment. If you, a friend, or a family member is diagnosed with prostate cancer, consider Swedish CyberKnife. Go to swedish.org/cyberknifeprostate. Treat prostate cancer with Swedish Cyberknife.
You know, someone asked me the other day, do you know how many devices the average home has connected to their Wi-Fi network? It's way more than I thought. So I actually went home and counted how many connected devices in my home. It is more than a dozen, all to keep us connected to the good stuff, our streaming, gaming, all the internet, and you name it. Well, Xfinity knows that the number of devices we have connected to our internet is growing by the year. And that's why they engineered their gateways to handle hundreds of connected devices, hundreds for real. And now through October 10th, get 150 megabit Xfinity internet for just $19.99 a month for 12 months with a 1-year contract, and ask how to get an eligible free 5G phone with Xfinity Mobile. Make sure your home Wi-Fi can handle everything you throw at it and then some. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store to switch today.